1 minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
Took one preseason game, the entire NFL looks like idiots. Welcome to the show. Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff on vacation. The one and only Zach Gelb sitting in today and tomorrow. Zach, thanks so much for getting up early. You're usually on afternoons on many of these same Infinity Sports Network stations.
You know, I'm just coming back from vacation
Yeah.
in Banff where I had some beautiful sights.
Yeah.
And I woke up to some of the best views I've ever seen. Now I wake up to the views of
Darkness?
EJ and Scarpaccia. Wonderful. Let me tell you.
Yeah. Well,
Better than Banff.
I doubt it. We'll get into your cool vacation to Canada in a minute, but Shedeur Sanders, this is from Friday night, and when you walk into your office today or you're on your shift, the one question that people are going to be asking, how'd Shedeur look? How'd Shedeur look on Friday night? You may have missed it. Well, he looked like a first or second round rookie who was out there taking some of the preseason lumps and having some of the good stuff and some of the bad stuff, Zach. And if you had told me that Shedeur Sanders was drafted late first round, early second round, and that was the performance that we saw on Friday night against the Carolina Panthers, against some of their starters as well, I would have said, yeah, this tracks. This tracks for a guy who has the accuracy that he had in college, for a guy who clearly has some touch on the ball, for a guy who's getting his feet wet in the NFL. This is what it would have looked like. So ipso facto, the rest of the NFL looks like dopes. The fact that he dropped all the way to the fifth round when you had quarterback needy teams out there, everyone's got to be, and if I were an owner or someone, I would be looking at my personnel and calling everyone in the front office and saying, what the hell, guys? Like, this is someone we couldn't take a flyer on in the fourth round or the third round?
But that's the part to me that's so confusing because Shedeur is a good quarterback. Whether you want to say he's great or he's elite, that's a different conversation. But I know he's a good quarterback, watching him do more with less at Colorado. And, okay, the interview process, right? He was cocky. He was arrogant. He thought he was above it. But you want to fall out of the first round? Okay.
Sure.
Yeah, I understand
That
the NFL. Little slap in the wrist, no big deal. And when we're sitting there on draft night,
I know.
second round, third round, fourth round, and he goes in the fifth. I thought that was bleeping crazy. And you're right. He wasn't perfect, but he looked the part. And that elicited me saying, after watching him play for basically a half in a preseason game, a little bit more than that, okay, it's not a matter of if he's going to start this year in Cleveland. It's just going to be when, and that's the fun part.
Okay, well, but here's the situation there. And I've said this and maintained it. I know a lot of people have pushed back on it. We've gotten some criticism over this, but it doesn't really feel like a fair fight when you're talking about this quarterback competition, air quotes, that's going on with the Browns. Because I think Joe Flacco won the job. And if you want to say 41-year-old Joe Flacco, 2 decades of experience, that's fine. Schedule's really tough out of the gate coming for the Browns. You want the veteran there. That's all well and good. But as far as the backup role is concerned, if you really have an open competition and one guy goes down with a bad hamstring, and one guy goes down with a slightly less bad hamstring. And now you've got this guy, which is Shedeur, who you threw into the fire without any first-team reps to play in that first preseason game, and he appointed himself well, I think is the best way I'd put it.
Yeah.
Every throw wasn't perfect. Believe me, every throw wasn't perfect. And at one point, he was doing that retreating thing, right, which is what the scouts didn't like. Retreating away from pressure, and there was one play where he went to his left, ran all the way back to his right, only to get back to the line of scrimmage. Okay, he's a rookie. It's a first preseason game, but there was enough good there to build on. And I just don't know if the Browns see it that way. And this week is going to be very interesting because they have one practice today back in Cleveland, and then they go to Philadelphia to have these joint practices with the Eagles. Well, that's a little step up in weight class. Does he actually get first-team reps for the first time ever in training camp? And do the Browns actually say, not because the outside pressure, just because what they saw on film, hey, he deserves more of a chance, Zach, to at least win the backup role?
Here's the part to me, and you have the joint practice, like you said. I've been to those monotonous training camps.
Yeah.
They're terrible. They're awful. They suck. They're not fun to be at. I don't care how big of a football fan you are. But when you have the other team comes in, that's when it's almost better than the preseason. A lot of coaches think the joint practices are big. So it may not even be the preseason game number 2 that is really exciting. It's what's going to be the reporting, what's going to be the showing in those joint practices up against the Eagles, who, as a lot of people know, and I know I'm sitting in Perloff's seat today, so I don't want to sound like Mr. Philadelphia, but they just won the Super Bowl last year, and they have one of the better defenses in the league. So this week, the joint practices probably more important for Shedeur's showing than the actual preseason game.
But this is where the rub is when you have 4 guys, and now count them up, there's 6 guys who are actually on an active roster for the Cleveland Browns. How do you divvy up these reps? And this is where the Browns, and I don't want to say they screwed themselves, but in some ways they set up this really tough situation.
I think it's simple. I don't need to see much of Joe Flacco this week.
I think he wants the reps, though.
Okay, that's fine, Joe. You're right now a player. That's what you are. I know you're a Super Bowl MVP, but right now you're a placeholder. And any Cleveland Browns fan that thinks this is going to be Joe Flacco of 2 years ago, I got a bridge to sell you after the show, all right? This is not Joe Flacco from 2 years ago. This is going to be Joe Flacco in Indianapolis last year, which was not a good experiment. So Joe, he'll get some reps, obviously, but then you got to divide it up really between the other 3. Kenny Pickett, you're not a starting quarterback in this league. Dylan Gabriel, right now, I don't think he's ready. Shedeur, it's go time. Cleveland needs to start giving this guy more reps. They can't sit here and continue to operate the way that they have and basically ignore him. Yeah. And this is the Tebow part of it, which is fun, is that this is like a Tim Tebow cult following. And
interesting.
Shedeur gave you enough where that fan base that loves Shedeur, and I'm happy to be a fan of Shedeur, they're going to get louder and louder and louder if you keep on trotting out there with the reps. Old man Joe Flacco with this cane, Kenny Pickett with his small hands, and then Dylan Gabriel, who, is a little fella these days
and he's
for a quarterback.
He's a 3rd-round pick, right? And his training camp was up and down. So he's going to go through the same trials and tribulations that Shedeur's going to go through, right?
Yeah.
You'd only expect so much. That's
but
interesting,
Shedeur's better than Dylan Gabriel, let's be real.
Yeah.
I know it's a 3rd, 5th round. Shedeur Sanders is it, and I was higher on Dylan Gabriel in the draft process than most. Shedeur Sanders is a better quarterback than Dylan Gabriel.
It's funny you mentioned the Tebow aspect, right? Tebow was a 1st-round pick, was one of the great college quarterbacks of all time, right? So Shedeur's not that. Tebow, though, did create and had such a following that
ridiculous.
It was almost like it became like a distraction, but not in a bad way. Like you think because it's positive and people are generally high on Tebow and liked what he was about. But teams, it was tough for them to bring him in because he got so much attention that it tilted the way people, thought about these quarterback, his opportunities, if you will.
Belichick basically did Urban Meyer a favor by bringing in Tebow. And I'll never forget one of the press conferences where they go, the Tebow questions were there, and Belichick basically said, we got Tom Brady as our quarterback.
Yeah, right. With Tom Brady, you're getting Tebow questions.
That shows you the power of it, though.
I know, and Tom's got to be like, what? How many rings do I have to win?
And
anyway.
Breaking news, there's no Tom Brady in Cleveland
now. That's the thing. It's, Tebow got kind of, because of his popularity, but the skill was not there, and he couldn't match it. And then he was only on teams that actually had quarterbacks till he decided to play baseball. But Shedeur, there's an opportunity. And I'll give you one more. When was the last time anyone was really excited about the quarterback situation in Cleveland? Maybe Baker Mayfield? And they ran him out.
Deshaun when he first got there?
Okay, but I think a lot of people were a little mixed on that because Deshaun came in with some big baggage.
And I am not a fan of Deshaun Watson.
Yeah.
Let me preface that statement before I'm about to say. But we've seen this enough. You start throwing touchdown passes, you start playing well.
Right.
People ignore the off the field problems, and then they genuflect to you. If Deshaun Watson was throwing touchdown passes and was healthy and was a top 7 quarterback that he displayed in Houston, people would have forgot about the off-the-field stuff real quick in Cleveland.
We're talking about the Browns quarterback situation after Shedeur Sanders appointed himself very well in the first preseason game. Rest of the NFL looked silly because they kept passing on him. And now the Browns have a real serious, dilemma on their hands, which is how many reps does Shedeur get this week? Do they continue this momentum or do they stop it dead in its tracks? The one thing, though, about Deshaun, it's like you couldn't have this, awesome outpouring of yes, we got him, because there was always that,
he's a creep and a jackass.
Yeah, well, it's just how many...
Good morning to everyone, by
How
the way.
many massage therapists need to come forward before you realize maybe this guy is not who he claims to be? And so you could never really have the full, we got the guy who everyone else wanted, and then he got there and he got hurt and he played bad, and at this point it's anyone but Deshaun. So it's just, I think Baker's the last time people really loved a quarterback in Cleveland. And again, they got him out of town because he had the audacity to hurt his non-throwing shoulder and they thought his career was over, I guess.
And I think the expectations probably in Cleveland nationally, I think will be more crazy and there will be more of a frenzy about Shedeur than maybe the people in Cleveland. And I understand they have that one meme of the guy with the jersey that has 4,000 quarterbacks in the last 20 years. So if Shedeur in a regular season game plays well, that's when I think the buzz really takes off in Cleveland. But doesn't there have to be some feeling in Cleveland where you look at the state of this roster and you go, okay, Joe Flacco, is going to play 6-7 games this year, let's just say. Kenny Pickett, maybe he'll get an opportunity or he'll get cut or traded somewhere in a few weeks. And then there's probably not a feeling of great optimism with Dillon Gabriel and Shedeur, even after this unbelievable showing by Shedeur Sanders, because the Cleveland Browns football fan, they're an expert in the draft. I know they don't always make the right picks, but they got 2 first-round picks next year, and they're probably already doing their homework and saying, okay, these guys, if anyone pops off, it's just an added bonus, but in all likelihood, they'll be taking a quarterback in the first round next year.
But, Zach, then the question is, why not just give Shedeur the chance, right? Why not? Because
100%.
To me, I think outside of, all right, you want to squint, you want to look at a couple Pro Bowlers who are on this Browns team. Clearly, you have one of the best defensive players in the league, Myles Garrett. You got Denzel Ward. You got a good offensive line. You got fine receiver, two fine receivers, I guess, in Jerry Jeudy and David Njoku. And then it's not like you are a contender, right? That's the thing about the Browns. Does no one want to say this? Let's say it. You're not a Super Bowl contender. So
Hot
let's
take.
Shocker. Yeah. So let's go with the thing that brings optimism. Go with the thing that actually could set you up for future success. And to me, that's giving Shedeur a real shot, not rolling the dice with Kenny Pickett or with Joe Flacco.
And if you're an astute football fan, you looked at Colorado. And let's be real, most of you outside of Shedeur Sanders could only name one other player on Colorado.
Yeah, Travis Hunter.
And that's Travis Hunter. The offensive line was not good. They had some other solid wide receivers, but no one that was really popping off that you said, okay, this is a first or a second round talent. And the run game was basically non-existent. So if I'm a Cleveland Browns fan, I look at that and I say, Shedeur did more with less in Colorado. You look at Cleveland. You just pointed it out. All the flaws on this roster. Just see if he could do more with less in Cleveland, because at this age, Joe Flacco doesn't do anything for me. Kenny Pickett doesn't do anything for me, and neither does Dillon Gabriel. And this Browns team, outside of that little run with Baker Mayfield for the last half decade or even decade, they've been abysmal. They've been a disaster, and they've been a joke. So at least do something that provides some excitement, and Shedeur provides that buzz and that factor. Now, with that being said, there's a difference in what Zach Gelb thinks should happen and what will happen.
Right.
I'm not saying that he won't eventually start. I think he will. But I look at the first 6 games of the schedule: Cincinnati, Baltimore, Green Bay, Detroit, Minnesota, and Pittsburgh.
One of those games in London
Yeah,
or Europe. I don't even know where it is. Dublin? I have no idea.
Yeah, who knows where the NFL plays these days. But regardless as to what kind of present you think Shedeur is going to be, that present will be stayed wrapped under the tree until maybe the earliest, barring injury, Miami on October 19th. That's when this could really get fun, and that's when you can unleash Shedeur.
888-710-4ISN, 888-710-4476. Does the NFL look silly after just one preseason game of Shedeur Sanders where he looked pretty good?
How many of the teams in the league right now, if I had to set an over-under,
yeah,
do you think 2.5 teams, if I just set that line for you right now, are sitting there saying, man, we should have picked this guy in the first 4 rounds?
Yeah, I think if I'm an owner, I'm looking at Shedeur making headlines. I'm looking at Shedeur potentially filling seats. I'm looking at people getting excited about him. I'm looking at a guy who so far has come in outside 2 speeding tickets, has done everything right. He's acted right. He's acted like he's just one of the guys. I think this whole boogeyman thing of Dion and Shedeur coming in, now maybe they all got really humbled because he did fall to the 5th round. That's possible. Although I think Dion's just Dion. I don't think you're humbling him at this point.
Well, Coach Prime, let's be respectful.
Sorry about that. But there's nothing you're doing at this point that's gonna take him down a peg or something like that. I think you would have gotten this same Shedeur whether he was taken in the 2nd round or whether he was taken in the 5th. And so, I think there's probably a few owners, maybe New Orleans, a couple others. Maybe
Steelers and Raiders should really regret it.
Steelers look silly for this because you also could have still kept Rodgers.
Yeah.
You could have had Rodgers in there giving him all the pointers. Could you imagine
the fun there? Rodgers with the ayahuasca and Shedeur with all the buzz. Oh, I would maybe move to Pittsburgh to cover that team for 2 months.
But it could have been a good pairing, because Rodgers, it seems like he'll talk to the wall about whatever you want. And maybe he thinks the wall is actually a person because who knows how much drugs this guy's done. But to be fair, he wants to be
We're talking about me and Bam for Aaron Rodgers.
Both. I think Rodgers has shown he wants to do what Brett Favre did not do for him. Right? Brett was not the guy who came in and was, sharing all the trade secrets and all of that. And I think he tried to make it right with Jordan Love. Jordan Love says he was a great mentor, and I think he would do the same thing here. So, Steelers blew it big time. 888-710-4ISN, 888-710-4476. Shedeur, not the only rookie, looking pretty good in the preseason. We'll tell you who was great, and we'll tell you who was not. Couple tough debuts. We're not writing anyone off yet, but, Quinn Ewers, Graham Mertz, tough.
Wow, naming people.
Naming people. What I'm going to dance around it?
Quinn Ewers' family is on line 1, 888-710-4ISN.
Come on in.
They're not happy with you, Maggie.
Listen, you want to pull the thread there, how Quinn Ewers kept Arch Manning from starting. We can go back to that. I still don't. I have no idea.
I think that this is all design plan in Texas.
That's possible.
That's what I would say.
That's possible because Ewers, listen, still plenty of room to grow. 888-710-4ISN.
Sounded real confident in that, Maggie.
There's a pregnant pause there. 888-710-4476. Did the NFL already show they made a mistake with Shedeur Sanders dropping to the 5th round? All right, get on board. Lots to do today, including some more preseason stuff you got to know about before you get to work today, and also some college. Injury at LSU, you have to know about, and the AP poll comes out tomorrow, so we're going to make some predictions. It's the Maggie Perloff Show. Zach Gelb in for Pearl today.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining.
Born in the summer of '94, Zach Gelb came to play. From Philly to the airwaves. Late nights on CBS, the Mad Dog in the mix. Now he's prime time 3 to 6. From the Jersey air on Fox Sports 90-30 to Eagles post games making Mondays funny. Late nights on CBS and Mad Dog in the mix. Now he's prime time 3 to 6. Oh, Zach Gelb's on the air. Turn the dial up. Last one stop legend in the making Daddy Bob proud. CBS Sports Radio every afternoon. Zach's got the taste that'll make you swoon. They say 2 a.m.'s for sleepers, but Zach changed the rule. National spotlight, just a kid out of school. Then he jumps to Sirius NFL and Mad Dog shows. CBS calling back, primetime flows. Now he's breaking news, taking calls on the fly. From touchdowns to trades, he's the sports talk guy. From Philly roots to national clout, Gelb's the host we can't live without. Oh, Zach Gelb's on the air, turn the dial up. Last one stop legend in the making Daddy Bob proud. CBS Sports Radio every afternoon. Zach's got the taste that'll make you swoon. Now he's breaking news, taking calls on the fly. From touchdowns to trades, he's the sports talk guy. From Philly roots to national clouds, Gelb's the host we can't live without. Philly to the nation, he's got the drive. Every hot take, every call keeps the show alive. He's Bob Gelb's son, but he made his own name. Zach Gelb's the future of the sports talk game. Oh, Zach Gelb's on the air, turn the dial up. Last one stop legend in the making Daddy Bob proud. CBS Sports Radio every afternoon. Zach's got the taste that'll make you swoon. So if you love your sports talk, bold and smart, Zach Gelb's the guy with the fire and heart. From Temple to CBS, he's the voice on the scene, the king of the mic, the sports talk machine.
One minute remaining. "45 seconds remaining. "30 seconds remaining. "15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie Perloff show. Zach Gelb's in for Perloff today and tomorrow. We're talking about Shedeur Sanders and did the NFL. Do they all look silly now? Because Shedeur looked like what you'd expect a first or second round quarterback to look like in their preseason debut. So you can go and vote at Maggie and Pearl. NFL looks silly, or do you still want to keep an arm's length here about Shedeur, a little more wait and see mode? I also saw some really positive reviews for Jaxson Dart of the New York Giants, and also for J.J. McCarthy from the Minnesota Vikings now, and Cam Ward. Now, McCarthy and Ward both played one series. So whatever you want to take from that, I mean, I know McCarthy is not technically a rookie, but this will be the first time we're seeing him. Only played one series, looked fine, looked good, but again, very, very small sample, clearly bringing these guys along a little slower. Jaxson Dart actually got some burn. He came in after Russell Wilson And he looked good too. Now, again, a couple really tough looking throws, a couple, hospital balls here and there. It's not going to look perfect. But if you're looking for the breadcrumbs, the building blocks, that's what you got from Jaxson Dart.
Yeah, and Russell Wilson, he's a better placeholder than Joe Flacco is right now, but he's still a placeholder. And there will eventually be a time this year where Jaxson Dart gets the keys to, not a Ferrari. I can't call the Giants a Ferrari these days, but they get the keys to the car, and we'll see how long and how far he could drive it. But
it's like an 04 Jeep.
Yeah, maybe at best. It's kind of like my rent-a-car in Banff when I first got to the airport. There was no license plate on it. So I had to go back, and we had to rent a new car, and it was just a whole disaster. So that would be the Giants right now. They were a white car. It looks good on the outside, but then there was no license plate, so you can't really get that far, and I didn't want to get pulled over by the authorities in Banff and be an international criminal. I didn't want that happening. But I think something...
To be honest, I'm setting that call straight to voicemail, Zach. Don't call me. Zach's calling from Canada. This can't be good. I don't want any smoke.
I actually think I would make you my first phone call just because I know Townie Maggie probably has some run-in with law enforcement where maybe you could give me some sage advice there on how to get out of the problem, or just send me a PBA card. But I think something that you said was fascinating. There is some good and there's some bad with all these guys.
Yeah.
And I'm just curious how people consume it, because I think most people aren't sitting down and watching the full preseason.
Sure.
And you go on social media and on some highlights, you would think J.J. McCarthy was some bum with some things that get posted on social media. But I think J.J. McCarthy's going to have a big season for the Minnesota Vikings. I think they're winning double-digit games. I think as they put more food on his plate through the season, and he's set up in an environment with O'Connell, Jefferson. I know Addison's out for the first 3 games. You got Hawkinson, Jones. I believe that they'll be better at the quarterback position this year than they were last year with Sam Darnold, who surprised a lot of people.
Wow, okay.
The record may not be better, but I think the individual play from the quarterback,
will be better.
The Minnesota Vikings won a playoff game this year.
Wow.
They would not have won a playoff game last year, and they didn't with Sam Darnold. McCarthy is a winner. Say what you want about him. He will win a playoff game this year with Kevin O'Connell.
Man, that's interesting, because I think a lot of people believe that the Vikings were going to win that playoff game against the Rams. It was weird. It got moved. They had to play it in Arizona, and I know Darnold looked bad at the last game of the season. I'm pretty sure they were favored in that game. Were they not against the
Maybe
Rams?
Maybe a 1.5-point favorite?
Maybe it came down.
Something slight.
I think it was shocking that not shocking to people who have been watching Sam Darnold's pro career for a long time, but it was shocking that there was that much of a cliff that the team just sort of fell off, like right at the end of the year. As far as J.J. McCarthy, here's my one where I'm fading the Vikings more than you are. He's running a lot, and he's going to run a lot because young quarterbacks who can run are going to rely on that, because they're not going to be able to go through like all their progressions, and like they're not savvy in that way. I'm afraid he's going to get hurt. He leaves the pocket like that, and he was taken off a little bit. We saw all the guys run a little bit because you have to. I worry about him.
I will say, though, I know they lost that playoff game up against TCU, but I thought that they were passive in the first half. And when they allowed McCarthy actually to get out of the pocket.
Talking about Michigan, going back to the Michigan days.
Yeah, and when he ran a little bit in that second half, that's when they got back in the game. So he's more mobile than what people think.
Yeah.
But that's a fear with any young quarterback. It's, you live with it with Josh Allen.
Yep.
Sometimes in regular season game number 4, dude, slide, go down 3 yards before the marker, even if you don't get the first down, and live to see another day, because one more injury to McCarthy, and if he gets hurt this year, and God forbid, first 2 years of his career, he's not playing, you usually don't recover from that.
Yeah, the other part, too, when we're talking about some of the preseason debuts of some of the younger quarterbacks, one of the other things about JJ, which I don't know if you're seeing the same thing in Cleveland or you're seeing the same thing even maybe in New York, but we'll see how the Giants do this year. In Minnesota, you have other quarterbacks who are dying to go there.
Yeah.
Aaron Rodgers wanted to play there. We know that. He would have been there if the Vikings had said yes, he would never have been a Steeler, right? I think there were, could Matthew Stafford, there's questions about guys who want to go play in that system. If McCarthy does get injured again, I'll knock on wood for him. I don't want to see the guy hurt. But if something happened that sets his quarterback career back again, you're going to have to really fight off some other quarterbacks who see this as a great situation, want to come play there, want to play for Kevin O'Connell. It's a desirable place where some of the other teams that, have quarterback questions are not as desirable.
I didn't think I'd be starting my Monday morning off talking about J.J. McCarthy getting hurt, but I'll just throw this out there. If he did get hurt this year and had to miss a significant amount of time, maybe say his entire season's wiped out like what happened last year, first phone call's got to be to Kirk Cousins. Get him out of Atlanta, go back to Minnesota. Little I'm coming home. I think that would be the reunion if it was just to happen this year. That's not a long-term plan. I know it's not sexy.
Yeah.
But they could still make the playoffs with Kirk Cousins as the quarterback.
I don't know. Do they have enough Shania Twain there on ready to go, the playlist?
Also, the other thing here, we just did 30 minutes on Shedeur, Jaxson Dart, J.J. McCarthy. Can we show a little love to Cam Ward?
Cam Ward. Sorry, he played 2 series. I said 1. He played 2.
This is the most disrespected first overall pick. There's been no coverage. No one's cared. Calvin Ridley looked pretty happy. He had 3 nice receptions for, I think, 50 yards. Cam Ward's going to be a good quarterback in this league.
Yeah, I don't see it as disrespect. I see this as a positive for Ward. You know, first of all, you're going to a team that just, quite frankly, doesn't it just doesn't have a lot of buzz in a division that is, you know, could be a little more open maybe than people think, although I know EJ and Perloff both love Houston.
He's also coming from an irrelevant place. Miami football, they've been irrelevant for the last 20 years, right?
I know you're gonna make EJ mad this morning, but
don't worry, EJ's like the appetizer today. I'm really going for Manny tomorrow.
Oh, okay. Well,
tomorrow, I may punch Manny by the end of the show.
Then he'll be back tomorrow. He's taking a covered wagon back from Buffalo. I don't know why he decides to take the train.
Wait, what?
We'll get into that. Manny's modes of transportation.
There's a reason why he's a lonely man.
Andrea was so confused when I told her what he was doing.
I didn't even know there was a train from New York City to Buffalo.
That's a dark place, the train from Buffalo to New York City.
Honestly, you could take a bicycle. It would probably take you less time. But this is the situation. The Titans don't have a lot of buzz. And I think it actually helps Cam Ward. Like, I think it's a luxury. You know, you come in and everyone's looking at Shedeur or looking at other quarterbacks, Jaxson Dart, all the pressure. He just gets to sort of do his thing. If I were the number 1 overall pick, I would be happy with, you know, just a little bit more anonymity if it gave me time to develop, because I'm in this thing for the next 10, 15 years.
So I do agree with part of what you said, but then also there has to be part of Cam Ward that this just motivates him even more. Maybe. And this is a guy, let's be real, 0-star recruit, incarnate word, made his way to Washington State, and then obviously last year with Miami, that's when a lot of people started to understand and know how good this guy was. That's got to even build that chip on his shoulder even more, because I got to be sitting there saying, hey, I'm better than J.J. McCarthy. I'm better than Cam Ward. I'm better than all these guys that are getting ready to make their first NFL starts, and no one's caring about me. That, I think, provides a little bit extra fuel to the fire.
I'm sorry, I missed the Nike football didn't also drop a Cam Ward ad like they did with Shedeur. 1 preseason game, Shedeur Sanders, Nike football. When you get your opportunity, create your next one, and it just says only a matter of time, and it's Shedeur holding up the wrist, and that's the one that the watch goes on. Sorry, wrong wrist.
I would be calling New Balance or Under Armour. I don't know.
Where's my ad?
I don't know who he is in bed with when it comes to sponsorship deals, but I'd be calling all these other people and be saying, all right, let's show Shedeur really who is the man. It's me. Who cares about Shedeur?
Does the NFL look a bit silly now? Shedeur appointed himself well in that preseason game. Clearly does not look like a 5th-round pick. Andrew Bogusch is with us this morning. What's up, Bogusch?
Guys, good morning. Your headlines are sponsored by Progressive Commercial Insurance, protecting small businesses with affordable coverage options. Get a quote today at progressivecommercial.com. Times in Philadelphia. Eagles Pro Bowl left guard Landon Dickerson suffered an apparent lower right leg injury near the end of last night's open practice. There were roughly 50,000 people at the link. When Dickerson went down on a pass play, teammates gathered around as trainers worked on him. He eventually got to the cart without putting any weight on that right leg.
I mean, we know they can still do the tush push, so what does it matter?
Have we been nice enough to you, the fact that you pegged Cam Jurgens as a top 5 influential player a year ago because of the tush push, and they didn't miss a beat?
It was we did a segment, who will be the most important non-quarterback in the NFL last year heading into the season. I said Cam Jurgens because Kelsey was retiring, Jason Kelsey, and this is the new center, so are they going to be able to execute the tush push? Boom, they win the Super Bowl.
All right, well, I need now year 2 in case Dickerson's out long term.
Who's the backup guard?
Yeah, who's Cam Jurgens this year for them?
You shouldn't walk around saying that was the take of the year, not this take of the year this year, which is the drought buster.
Yeah, which is dead in the water.
Yeah.
No.
I feel
Yeah.
so lost right now.
Yeah, sorry.
It's
We'll
okay.
get you up to speed.
But
There's a handbook somewhere.
Jeff Stoutland, though, is I think the best offensive line coach in football. And did you know Cam Jurgens has a beef jerky company?
Is that right?
Yeah, I'm a big beef jerky guy. Bo,
How
you're a
is
big
it?
beef jerky guy, right?
Not even a little bit.
Really?
Yeah.
Emaciated fellow like
Leave
you, not
your
a
Slim
big
Jims
beef
home.
jerky guy?
That doesn't get you
By
through
that
set
one.
2 of the Dave Matthews.
Emaciated.
Wait, hold on.
Slim Jim's also like the hamburger.
Also
true.
It's like the McDonald's of
Yeah, there's a
beef
lot of
jerky.
fancy
Yeah.
stuff out there now.
Fordham guys, a little snobby, can't
Who
have
invited
beef jerky.
Gelb? We asked her answer that question yet?
But it's part of a keto diet, right? So now you get all these fancy jerkies.
right.
Are you serious?
I think so.
Oh, wow.
But the reason I did have take of the year going, like the opinion of the year, and it was, I mean, the train was on the tracks for this one. It was really setting up nicely when Rory was breaking his Masters drought and when Florida basketball won the NCAA tournament. And I said, it's the year of the drought busters, a.k.a. slump busters.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And then all of a sudden, Scotty Scheffler started winning, and I was like, oh, shoot.
Yeah. Canada didn't win a Stanley Cup.
No, that would have been big.
Yeah.
The Florida Panthers repeating really, but OKC,
Yeah,
a
franchise,
very long drought.
I guess.
They won
Going
a
back to
championship?
Seattle.
It's just like it got lost in the sauce here.
Rory was
Somewhere
good.
around
Everything else is a
spring.
stretch, and now you've run out of
I
options.
know. After spring, the weather started getting really hot, and all of a sudden, my drought busters really went dry.
Scotty Scheffler woke up, saw your take, and
It was
I
the
took that
Panthers.
personally.
No, it was the Panthers. If Canada had broken that drought, I'd be coming into the show wearing a crown every day, just like I can tell the future.
But like once you say that this is the take of the year, it's gonna be the cold take of the year at that point, right? Like once you speak it into existence, it's not gonna happen.
I'm running out of time because all the other stuff that's going to happen is probably technically going to be 2025 at this point. Or 2026. I got the WNBA that I still will crown a champion this calendar year, and baseball.
Also, don't worry. This network, we give Ryan Hickey enough airtime. He comes up with enough cold takes as it is. So he will usurp you in that
Well, I'm
department.
riding shotgun with Hickey right now, but I thought I had something. Anyway, that's the latest.
The last day of the first full weekend of NFL preseason gave us our first look at Ben Johnson's Bears offense.
Snap back, 4-man rush. Pressure coming, back of the end zone, leaping grab, Maurice Alexander, back of the end zone, touchdown! Touchdown Bears!
Jeff Joniak, Bears Radio. Doubt we'll get many Tyson Bagent to Maurice Alexander TDs when things count. Bagent finishing 13 of 19. Case Keenum tossed 2 scores. Then got a congratulatory text from Perloff, I'm assuming. Caleb Williams and 9 other offensive starters sat this one out. A game that ended Bears 24, Dolphins 24. There was a winner in LA, the Chargers over the Saints 27-13. Trey Lance impressing again with a rushing touchdown. Sunday Night Baseball in St. Louis, Cards and Cubs tied at 2, bottom 7.
Delivers to Gorman, swing, and a base hit to right field. Walker rounds third, he's headed home. Throw to the plate, not in time. Down to second, and safe is Nolan Gorman. The Cardinals take the lead. Nolan Gorman delivers in the 7th.
A tie-breaking RBI single. Final score 3-2. St. Louis wins. That drops the Cubs 6 games behind the Brewers in the NL Central. The Blue Jays pushed their AL East lead to 4 games on the Red Sox with a 5-4 win at Dodger Stadium, while Boston was losing in San Diego 6-2. WNBA history last night. Asia Wilson, 32 points, 20 rebounds in the Aces' 94-86 win over the Sun. That is the first 30-20 game in league history. And I get to mention one of EJ's favorites this morning. I might wish Manny was here too. Reporting over the weekend said Trae Young resigned to play out the final guaranteed year of his deal in Atlanta, then test free agency next summer. He is eligible right now for one of those 4-year, $229 million extensions that confuse Perloff so much, but apparently no offer yet from Atlanta, even though Trae owns the Knicks and MSG.
Could you imagine? I know it can't happen because they just gave the deal to Mikal Bridges. Imagine with all the crap that probably Manny has said about Trae Young and just seeing on his social media feed, which is horrendous and abhorrent. Could you imagine if the Knicks signed Trae Young and Manny has to walk all that back? That would be fun.
And he would do it in a nanosecond.
Yeah, he has no shame.
Trae Young, definitely one of those players. Well, is he one of those players that you hate him when he's on the other team, but you love him if he's on yours? I don't know if he falls into that. It's not Draymond.
He's good, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But I think in the national landscape, he is irrelevant. Manny just picks these fights and tries to make them bigger deals than what they actually are.
Well, my question is, when's the last time someone had a franchise guy like that and did not pay them in the NBA? Like,
It's been a while.
Yeah.
everyone.
You at least get the deal, and then then if
deal.
you have remorse 2 years after it, you then trade the person.
Sure, I mean, it's the NBA. Everything can get traded.
Or you trade him before the deal comes up, like
Right.
you saw with De'Aaron Fox, and he ended up getting the deal from San Antonio. And he also kind of didn't want to stay in Sacramento, so that was a weird thing. It doesn't happen very often, but, I mean, he's a flawed player. Like, he's short, he's not efficient, and he gets a lot of assists, but he turns the ball over a lot. So he's kind of a weird guy. He plays no defense. So he's a good player, but in order to make him work, you got to have you almost got to have a perfect situation around him.
I know, but it's just like the NBA. Everybody gets paid.
Yeah,
Everybody.
I mean, that's why he's mad, I think, because I think he feels like he's being
Yeah.
picked on. He's like, I stayed here, and this is what they're doing to me. But
Yeah,
I
right.
think they're looking at their team being like, we're a fast, tall, long, athletic team, and we got this little short guy who shoots 40% from the field. Like, what are we doing?
Maggie's son, by the way, Lucas, is going to be shooting jumpers with me after the show. We're going to try to make him an NBA player. Just below average in the NBA. We got $20 million a year. I'll take a 5% cut. It would be great.
I did that thing. I don't know if all parents do this, Bogues. Maybe you did this with your kids. You have a son and a daughter. You can do it with both, where there's like a calculation you can do to find out how tall you think they're going to be. I think that some pediatricians
definitely.
do this
Yeah,
too.
definitely.
Yes.
Yeah, right. So I calculated. He's expected to be about 6 feet, maybe 6'1". That's all we got.
Oh, all right.
Got a chance?
About Trae Young's size.
There you
Fisher
go.
Price hoop coming to the Maggie
have
Gray
one.
household.
Already have one.
Well, we got another one.
We don't,
2 hoops.
if we don't see it, we don't want him running track after we saw you coming out of the starting block. That's not gonna be a pretty sight.
No. Me embarrassing myself
And we'll
with
know how big
none
feet,
other
too.
than Usain Bolt. Gigantic feet. Kids growing like crazy. Anyway, 888-710, that's just me. That's my contribution to his genes. Just huge feet like me. 888-710-4476, size 9,
Well,
Claude
the problem
Hoppers.
is big feet for you. Those are average size feet for men.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, I do have the largest feet on the show
Congratulations.
today.
Probably.
Just saying.
You're tall.
Well, no, I'm just saying. I always hear about the size of Maggie's feet.
Yeah.
You probably have the biggest feet on the show, even when Perloff's in, right?
I mean, I got size 9s.
I'm 15.
Where do you buy those?
This Nike.
You must have to order
In bulk.
them. But
Yeah.
you can't walk into a store and
Oh,
say,
no. 15, I think, is the max. I do get some 15 shoes in the store.
They're like, all right, let's go all the way to the back.
Yeah.
It's like the last pair.
Let's get the ladder out.
Asking for help to carry the box out.
Caution, big fella coming in. Get
like,
the wide shoes.
We only got the white
Maggie's
on white.
brother's here.
Get the forklift.
All right, 888-710-4ISN. Bogues, thanks so much. Coming up, Dak Prescott calling his shot. What's got the Cowboys quarterback so confident? We'll tell you next. It's Maggie Perloff Show. Zach Gelb in for Pearl.
You're in a 5-minute break.
Do you usually eat before the show?
No.
Right?
I eat during.
Oh, you do?
I bring like a...
But wait, hold up, no seat in sight. Her chair is gone this quiet night. Odyssey's finest, infinity's pride. Now Amy's pacing, no place to slide. She scans the room, but it's just air. A burning question, who took my chair? Ooh, who stole Amy's chair? Was it Zach Gelb with his innocent stare? Orion hit you with his towering hair. It's not people he's never there. Somebody fess up, who stole Amy's chair? Zach says, hey, I didn't steal. I never mess with Amy's wheels. Ryan's hair is high and proud, but he swears he's innocent. Yelling out loud, I got no motive, I'm just tall. His hair almost scrapes the studio wall. But Amy's still standing, no time for lies. Someone's gonna pay, no more alibis. Who stole Amy's chair? Was it Zach Gelb with his innocent stare? Orion hit you with his towering hair. It's not people he's never there. Somebody fess up, who stole Amy's chair? Infinity Sports has one desire: to turn the throne before the show, or Amy's wrath will surely blow. Who stole Amy's chair? Zach and Ryan, do you even care? Is it hidden under Hickey's hair? Or maybe Gelb's got it, he swears, I swear. It's not Pete Bellotti, he's still not there. Somebody fess up, who stole Amy's chair? So if you see a chair on the go, rolling around on some late night show, call Infinity Odyssey 2. Amy's coming, and she's looking for you.
Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back to Maggie Perloff Show. Zach Gelb in for Pearl. Still on vacation for a couple more days. And, you know, Zach, I think we're all a little surprised by this. I know athletes have to be confident. Always want to be projecting, you know, success. But Dak Prescott having a conversation with Rams owner Stan Kroenke and saying, we'll see you in the NFC Championship game, elicited a lot of eye rolls, a lot of chuckles, because you can be confident, but I don't see how even the most optimistic read on the Cowboys this season has them going to the NFC Championship game. I don't even think the Cowboys are making the playoffs. I flirted with the idea of making them a playoff team, but I just couldn't get there. And it's not because of the Micah Parsons contract. I think that will get done. It's everything else going on with the Cowboys.
Well, the Cowboys already won the Super Bowl. You have this Micah Parsons situation. Now you got the quarterback, who usually doesn't have much personality, showing some confidence, showing some bravado. Jerry Jones is sitting there holding press conferences daily. This is how the Cowboys are run.
Oh, this is their Super Bowl.
This is their Super Bowl. They haven't made an NFC Championship game or a Super Bowl since the 1995 season. This is how they run their organization, where they want all these headlines. They want all the publicity. They want all the drama. They want to be in the news now because usually as the season goes on, sure, they're usually a solid, good team. I think this year they're a fringe playoff team at best. I'm with you, probably more so they miss the playoffs than make the playoffs. But if they do, they'll be a wild card team and go home on wild card weekend. But them being in the news right now, this is their time to shine. Most people, it's October, November, December, January. The Cowboys, it's the summer months, July and August.
Yeah. I mean, this has been their MO. I've always said if you told Jerry you could win a Super Bowl, but you'd never be able to speak into a microphone ever again, are you confident that he would actually take Super Bowl? I've never thought Jerry has actually been about winning. Once he got into the Hall of Fame, the Cowboys are valued at, probably even higher than the Lakers that just sold for, $11 billion, $10 billion. He's already won. All of this is just icing. And he doesn't actually care about another ring. Now, here's the other part of this, and you're welcome to weigh in, Cowboy fans, at 888-710-4ISN, 888-710-4476. Do you even like Dak Prescott talking like this? I mean, you've been hurt. You got hurt last year. Maybe Dak has a big bounce-back year passing-wise because he does have Lamb, he does have George Pickens now. But the run game's going to be nothing again. You got 4 running backs, so I don't have a lot of confidence in any one of those guys. You didn't actually upgrade, in my opinion, the running back position. So is your offense going to just get really predictable here where teams are going to know exactly what to key in on when it comes to Prescott?
And if he's healthy, I think Jaden Blue has the most upside.
Sure, he's the youngest.
Out of that group. But if I'm a Cowboy fan, I think you're just numb to the pain right now. I know enough Cowboys fans. I know this one guy, Joe, who's a huge Cowboy fan, and he's older. So he saw them winning all those championships. And now they understand what they're signing up for, and they know they're in the worst place you could be in as an NFL franchise, where you're not horrible, but you're not great. You're just good. You look at teams that mid. The Cowboys, the Dolphins. They're not bad enough where they're picking in the top 5, but they're not good enough. Yeah, them too. They're not good enough where you're going to a conference championship game or a Super Bowl. And that's a frightening spot. I'd rather be horrible for a few years.
Yeah.
Or, obviously you want to be great. But if you're just good in the NFL, it's a bad place to be in.
We're talking about Dak Prescott, said over the weekend, was caught saying to the Rams owner, we'll see you in the NFC Championship game. By the way, I don't think either teams are going to the NFC Championship game. It's not great when Matthew Stafford already needs an epidural before the season starts. That's not an awesome piece of news. But I
saw he threw 60 passes, though, yesterday over the weekend.
Well, these epidurals work, Zach. Take my word for it.
I'm not at that stage of my life yet. Talk to me in 3 years.
Yeah, they work, which is why I know from experience. But anyway, this is the other part where Dak, I think, kind of blew this here, which is, yes, you said this is the Cowboys Super Bowl this time of year, right? Because they just talk. Talking season is the best time for the Cowboys. This is where they get the most attention. But there was a moment, I think, with Micah Parsons where people really wrote off the Cowboys. I think you and I did. A lot of people have. There was a chance that they sort of could have taken on a bit of an underdog role. They are not, Vegas is not saying they're a playoff team.
No one believes in the coach.
Brian Schottenheimer feels like he was, he just happened to be the next guy standing in the building. Were they even sure they wanted to fire Mike McCarthy? Or did we ever even get a solid answer on that? They only interviewed guys who were formerly worked for the team and Robert Saleh.
They didn't want to give him a 4 or 5 year extension. That's what it was.
And
that's
there was a standoff. That's what Mike wanted. Yeah, but I think they actually may have wanted McCarthy back if McCarthy had been a little bit more flexible. Anyway, so Brian Schottenheimer, you're here, so now you get to wear the visor. But
backwards or forwards on the visor? Which one do you prefer?
I don't have a strong take on that, but I think that Dak kind of, with this headline, and yeah, not everyone's glued into every single thing Dak says, but this was the wrong time, I think, for this headline. To say we're going to be in the NFC Championship game, I don't think that's what the Cowboys need, and that's not what the fan base needs right now because it's so empty, it's so tone deaf. This is a time maybe where, no one saw us coming. Maybe this is the time where you sneak up on a couple people. I know it's tough because it's the Cowboys, but any shot of being a bit of an underdog or being likable or anything, I think, went out the window with this.
I don't think it's calculated, but if it is, it actually may be brilliant by Dak. Because right now everyone's just talking about Micah, and you have this clown show.
Michael Parsons. Yep.
And you have this clown show with Jerry and Micah or Michael Parsons. And now some of the attention's going to go to Dak's way and these comments. So maybe this gets him free of 3 or 4 days of all the Micah drama. And it may be a little bit refreshing for people in Cowboy land.
888-710-4ISN, 888-710-4476. I'm just like, how is a guy who missed all these games last year, right, who is one of the highest paid quarterbacks in the NFL, the highest paid by average annual, $60 million a year. The team is
Yeah, but
It's
this is what
just
his owner
it's not a
does.
great team, and you're saying NFC Championship game. I mean, get out of here.
How about a few years ago, the owner, Jerry Jones in Oxnard, was holding up a trophy because they got honored for something. He goes, I'm just practicing my Super Bowl lift. This is what they do. They talk. They're the Cowboys. And Dak, who usually doesn't fall in line with the Cowboy way, is now falling in line with the Cowboy way. So good for Dak Prescott. I like the confidence. You're not going to the NFC Championship game. You're not going to the Super Bowl. Also, if you're going to say, I'll see you in the NFC Championship game, maybe also whisper into Kroenke's ear, yeah, we're going to kick your ass and we're going to go to the Super Bowl this year. Don't just settle for just going to the NFC Championship game.
Yeah, that's also how you know it's like a weird thing where it's not even like, hey, we're going to, like you'll be in our rearview mirror when we're in the Super Bowl. It's like, see you in the NFC Championship game, and who knows what happens then. Yeah, right. Like he's not even saying they're going to win that. I don't know. Odd to me. Odd. And it's just, yeah, you're right. If you're a Cowboy fan, you're numb to it. I think it's the opposite. I think if I'm a Cowboy fan, every stage of this gets me more and more angry.
It's almost as if you're in a toxic relationship.
Well, you don't have your house in order.
Eventually, you just gotta let it go. And that's where I think Cowboys are at right now. They are numb to the toxicity.
It's hard to let your fandom go, though. You just want them to not be embarrassing, right? And win, obviously.
That's usually what you say in a toxic relationship. Do whatever you want, but don't embarrass me.
Yeah. Then you usually get yelled at in a restaurant or something like that. It's not good.
All right. Well, the
Been there, done that.
little therapy session in the break. 888-710-4ISN. Okay, the College Football Top 25 AP poll debuts tomorrow. Who should be number one?
You're in a 5-minute break.
Now ain't he's pacing, no
Here I come, size 15, hitting the floor. People say, Joe, what store's got more? Boots so big, they need their own zip code. Every step I take is a pothole road. Now I'm a size 9, that's still no small feat. Got sneakers lined up like cars on the street. When I stomp down, the coffee mug shake. Even the ref and Dallas did a double take. They say you can tell a show by the size of the kicks. We're stomping loud while Pete pulls his tricks. Shoes to fill, yeah, we're kicking up dust. When we hit the street, the ground might just bust. But the control room is quiet, that's the real news thrill. 'Cause people are still ain't showing up for the bill. Maggie called me once, said we're out of lace. I said you'll need a mile to wrap this base. But I'd trade these clompers just one day, you see, to find out where the heck people might be. I'm not a 15, but my 9 still kicks. And I'm here every day while Pete pulls his tricks. He's more MIA than a Bigfoot in snow. Only difference is we actually show. Cinderella tried, but she's free, no way. These ain't slippers, that's a sailboat, babe. And Pete's at home, yeah, doing who knows what, while we're wearing our souls and busting our butts. Big shoes to fill, and still no Pete at the grill. So if you're walking with us, you better keep pace. Our big old feet set the speed of the race. From the studio floor to the grocery aisle, our size 15s and 9s got their own style. Big shoes to fill, and still no Pete at the grill. So if you're walking with us, you better keep pace. Our big old feet set the speed of the race. Big man, big gal, big shoes. Oh, still, that's a whole lot of shoe to fill.
1 minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
College football fans, get ready to fight. AP poll comes out later today. Welcome to the show, Maggie Gray. Andrew Perloff on vacation. Zach Gelb sitting in for him this morning. And Zach, thanks for waking up early with us today. It was Texas who got the number one ranking in the coaches poll a week ago. Now we go to the AP poll, the real one. Do you think that Texas is going to enjoy the same perch?
I do not. I think, and I feel sick even having to say this because I do not like this football program. But I think it's going to be Penn State with Katron Allen, with Drew Aller, DDS, denied that is sudden, and Singleton.
Do you think they should be number one, and that's why it kills you that they should be number one in the AP poll?
I actually think
they're the best team in the country.
Penn State to me can win a national championship this year, and I don't trust James Franklin in a big game because he's allergic. Drew Aller has been overrated, but there's a big misnomer in college football now. You win a national championship, right? Everyone slaps you on the behind and go, "Oh, you're great, you're wonderful." I don't think you need to be great anymore to win a college national championship. I think you could just be very good. Like, look at Ohio State. They had great talent. They lost to Michigan at the end of the season. But with this 12-team playoff, you get a mulligan, you get extra life, and that's when you could bounce back. And I don't think when I looked at Ohio State last year, I said, oh, wow, that's like one of the greatest football. They weren't LSU when they were undefeated with Joe Burrow. They weren't Michigan when they were undefeated a few years ago. Some of those Alabama teams with Nick Saban, Urban Meyer's Florida teams, and Ohio State. Like, those were great teams in the last 15, 20 years to me. Pete Carroll and with Reggie Bush and Matt Leinart, iconic teams.
Yeah.
I don't think you need to be an iconic team anymore to win a national championship in college because it's more of a level playing field where there's not really a face of the sport right now, and all these teams are able to legally spend money. So if you're just very good now in college, you have a great chance to win a national championship.
That's interesting. So do you think it's because of your road, like your path? You know, like the fact that Penn State got as far as they did last year is because, you know,
they beat?
Well, they got to play SMU, and then they got to beat who was the second?
Indiana?
No, not Indiana. It was
Boise State. Boise State.
Right. So you got to play two, and all of a sudden here you are sitting in the Final Four, but did you really actually earn that? So you think they're the best of a mediocre bunch, Penn State? That's why you think they'll be one?
And another school that I don't usually trust in the last 3 years, Dabo Swinney and Clemson. I was
going to say.
They've been stuck in just being, you know, they don't even always win the ACC anymore. You had Florida State, you had Pitt in the last 4 years. You got Dabo, who's still a top 3 coach. I would say the second best coach in the country. And you have Cade Klubnik, who I don't think is the best quarterback in the country. I don't think he has the most upside, but he's the most consistent. And right now, if you're just consistent in college football, bare minimum, you're going to the Final Four. Penn State, who they beat last year. Any big game, right? They got participation trophy points. That's why I call them Participation State University, for not getting blown out by Oregon in the Big Ten championship game. And they go up against Notre Dame, and the quarterback urinated down his leg. Yeah. That's what he did. So just to get to the Final Four, you just need to be good. And if you're in the Final Four, you can win 2 more and win a national championship.
Man, by that logic, though, then you should probably think that Clemson should be the number 1 team in the country, because they do return. They actually did dip into the portal a little bit, not as much as, other teams like who really go portal heavy, Colorado, stuff like that. But they have a lot of returners. They have a ton of talent. They're in a air quotes easier conference to win, and they have a better quarterback. So I guess by that stretch, you would say Clemson. I think Texas is right on here. I don't have a big issue with Texas being ranked number 1 by the coaches. And if it's the AP poll, I don't either, because I think it's really comes down to Texas and Ohio State, who, funny enough, are going to play each other in the opening week, which is fantastic. But I think that you give the nod to Texas, not because I think Arch Manning is going to be the second coming necessarily, but because at least they know who the quarterback is. Ohio State loves to do this thing, and I know Ryan Day has done it many, many times in the past, where they wait and wait and wait to name their quarterback. It doesn't necessarily mean anything's wrong. It doesn't necessarily mean anything is suspect. But if you're going to give me these 2 teams up against each other with the amount that both lost to the NFL draft last year, I'll take the team that actually has the quarterback who's been number 1 entrenched in place since spring practice.
Now, Ohio State does have the best player in the country, in Jeremiah Smith. But when you look at Texas, I just wonder, can we walk away this year feeling good about Texas, even if they don't win a national championship? Because even if Arch Manning wins the Heisman Trophy, I don't think that's going to be good enough for most if he doesn't win the national championship. The last 2 years, give credit to Sark. When they were in the final year of the Big 12, they won the Big 12, and they lost in the college football playoff. And then to Washington with Kalen DeBoer. And then last year, first year in the SEC, they're in the SEC title game. Then they're the only SEC team standing in the Final Four of the college football playoff. Just getting back to the Final Four isn't really progress. Just getting to a national championship game isn't drastic progress. I'm at the point where Texas has to win a national championship, or this season's a bust for them, because this is what we've been waiting for. Unleash Arch. All right, Quinn Ewers was disrespected. He was good at Texas. I think he will age to be more appreciated through the years, but this has been the wait up and the build up for Arch Manning. Anything short of a national championship in what I do think is going to be 2 years, and you had all the Archie comments. Yeah, it's really it's going to be very disappointing, I think.
Okay, let's pause on that for a second. We're asking you who deserves to be the number 1 team in the country. You're going to get the AP poll a little bit later on today. Coaches poll last week said Texas and then Ohio State. Zach thinks that Penn State should be up there. I think Texas is fine. But let's pause on that for a second, because I'm going to completely disagree with you. Now, Texas and Sark, I think, have tons of pressure to win, right? Yeah. You go to the Final Four 2 years in a row. You got to take the next logical step. You landed Arch. You kept Arch.
And also how it ended for Sark, too, with that terrible play call up against Ohio State with the pitch that went 7 yards backwards, and they just shot themselves in the foot.
I mean, it was...
I had some money on Texas. I can't tell.
Well, and also they were, let's call it like it is, they were lucky to escape against Arizona State. And to be honest, like, if you're not playing, I think there was a little brand blindness that came into the referees there, and I think there were some bad calls that went against the Sun Devils. They certainly had some complaints about how that game ended. Anyway, this is where you and I are going to disagree. I think Sark's under a ton of pressure. I don't think Arch Manning, nothing about his story, in my opinion, really has to do with college. Because Peyton's story really isn't about college, and Eli's story really isn't about college. It's about the NFL. And to me, this is why I don't understand why Archie Manning, the grandfather, of course, the great football player, comes out and says, Arch is going to stay for 2 years, to be a starter for 2 seasons, this year and the next year. I don't understand why they're calling their shot in this way, unless they're just, trying to smokescreen and throw us all off. Because to me, it's all about where Arch lands in the NFL. It has nothing to do with whether or not he wins the national title or even a Heisman. Both uncles didn't accomplish either, and we don't think they're not Hall of Fame quarterbacks.
So two things. I think what Archie did was he wanted to eliminate the distraction. So he says this in an interview. And now Arch will have to answer it. I'm
Yeah.
sure Arch will say, yeah, my plan is to be here at Texas for 2 years. I agree with Grandpop, all that stuff. That conversation gets tabled for a little bit. But if Arch starts the season 6-0, 7-0, and he's right in the forefront of the Heisman Trophy conversation, then those questions are going to pop back up.
No, Zach, it's not going to mean diddly. And this is no disrespect to Archie Manning, who was a great quarterback, but this is a different media landscape than even when Peyton and Eli were there.
That's why I think his college career matters.
Well, the toothpaste is out of the tube, though, as far as hype, and as far as
most of us have never seen this guy start an actual game. I know he had the 2 games last year, but when he is the guy starting, who was watching when even ESPN would throw on his games in high school? I always think that's weird when we obsess over the high school kids before they actually get to college. Now it's different in college because it does feel as if it's a professional sport. But most of the people have made all these comments about Arch Manning, and most of you have not seen this guy play at all, anything, or for a hair in the regular season last year, or when they would throw him in there when Quinn Ewers got hurt, or on some special packages. So that's why this does matter, because the bar has been set so high. What did MJ say? The ceiling is the roof. That bar has been set all the way up there, where we're talking about just maybe being a Heisman Trophy finalist, maybe getting back to the Final Four of the college football playoff is not going to be good enough for most of us.
Total disagree. But EJ, why don't you put it up on the poll? Does Arch's college career matter? I just don't think so. I think what Arch specifically has to live up to, not Sark. Sark, this matters. You want to win with Arch Manning. You're the one who landed the Golden Goose recruit, all of that. But for Arch, the expectation is top pick in the draft, Super Bowls. Because I think the Mannings, when we think back on them, unless you live in Knoxville, or unless you are an Ole Miss alum, I don't think we're really going back to their college days as much anymore.
Well,
it's about point, where do you go in the NFL? What do you do? How many Super Bowls do you get? And do we see another Hall of Famer?
If Arch Manning doesn't win a national championship, doesn't win a Heisman Trophy in college, if he goes to the NFL and wins a Super Bowl and wins and gets a Hall of Fame jacket, no one's really going to give a rat's ass that he didn't get the job done at Texas. But if you look at the tiebreakers in this family, if he could go to Texas, win a national championship, and win a Heisman Trophy, then goes to the NFL, gets a Hall of Fame jacket, and a Super Bowl or 2, the college stuff could be the tiebreaker for him.
Oh, as far as who's the greatest Manning? Mm-hmm. I mean, but we could do
and
this.
And he could run, too. Peyton and Eli could not run. He could run.
Do you think he's winning 5 MVPs?
Probably not.
That's a lot. There's a lot when Peyton did it. 888-710-4ISN, 888-710-4476. Does Arch's college career really matter? To me, no. Now, again, for Sark, this is big because you've been knocking on the door. You kept Arch at Texas, or he decided to stay with you, even though you want to dig into Sark's past. Are there has everyone really panned out, air quotes, that he coached in college that go to the NFL? It's not like he's exactly the kingmaker. As far as quarterbacks, Arch could have left to go to USC. He could have been coached by Lincoln Riley. There's other great coaches out there who can get you to the NFL and prepare you for the NFL, maybe even better.
But he doesn't need that because of the fact of who his uncles are and who's his grandfather is.
Yeah, so it's got to be story time, Grandpa.
Oh, I was like...
that was about Jerry. That was not about Archie Manning.
I don't see your mouth moving, but I hear your voice. I go, where the heck was that coming from? I forgot we do drops here at the network. But... That was, he has the greatest education that one could get if one wanted to be a quarterback. So you don't need a Lincoln Riley. I think they just trusted Sark, and they trusted that they could sort of manage the situation from afar. So that's what was appealing to them about the Texas program.
Yeah, now we're talking about Arch Manning. The conversation started with who should be ranked number 1 of the AP poll, which is going to come out later today. Who do you think is the best team in the country? We haven't seen them all yet, so obviously we're making a projection here. But now just talking about Arch Manning. And go to the chat, youtube.com/Infinity Sportsnet, twitch.tv/Infinity Sports Network, where Chocolate Thunder, which I appreciate from our nickname bracket.
Dow Dawkins is in the chat?
He is. Big fan of the show and up early. The Mannings understand 2 years is needed. We don't understand because we never played to college in the NFL. I get that. But here's where I'll push back on Chocolate Thunder. There's this idea that if you get X amount of starts in college, all of a sudden you get to the NFL and it's some kind of cakewalk. I guarantee you, if you go to the Cleveland Browns, if you go to the Carolina Panthers, if you go to the New Orleans Saints, it's not a cakewalk.
Jets, Jets.
Jets could have a guy who plays in college for 100 years. He's going to come in and struggle.
He'll see ghost and he'll get mono somehow.
I'm just saying, it's like that to me. I get that there is like there's of course going to be a lot of like data that the more you play in college, maybe the better you fare in the NFL. But to me, that's not what it's about. What it's about is who is coaching you in the NFL. I think there's this idea, Zach, and we're lucky enough we get to talk to a lot of professional athletes, and this is where I base this off of. Guys still want to be coached on the NFL level. They still want to improve. You don't go to the NFL as the finished product. So you could have had 20 starts in your career. You could have 50, whatever it is. Did it help Brock Purdy? I'm sure it did help Brock Purdy to be a starter at Iowa State. And maybe he, but did Brock Purdy, does it help him more to be with Kyle Shanahan now, or the fact that he had all those starts at Iowa State? Is that why we're seeing Mr. Irrelevant all of a sudden be in overtime against Patrick Mahomes in the Super Bowl? To me, sure, a little bit about Iowa State, no doubt, but it's about him landing with Kyle Shanahan and running that offense is the reason why Purdy is an NFL success story.
I think the environment is the number one thing. Now,
right, that's what I'm saying.
Can you throw someone like a C.J. Stroud or a Jaden Daniels in what were outhouse situations? Can they make them the penthouse? Absolutely. But those are anomalies. Don't expect to see Jaden Daniels and C.J. Stroud rookie years each and every year, even though we were fortunate enough to get them back to back. But for most of these guys, they have a lot of talent. That's why they were picked in the top 5. And they go to these dreadful situations, and you have no line, no playmakers, and they throw you right into the fire right away. And you see things early on, and they harm you. Now, can you go somewhere else? And can a Sam Darnold get linked up with Kevin O'Connell when his career was basically, in sports hospice, and can he get revived and saved and get a new contract? Sure. Look at Geno Smith when he was thrown into a situation with Pete Carroll. So that could change rather quickly, but the environment is so paramount. And then also, let's be real, you can't be a dope. You got to actually want it to. Look at Jamarcus Russell.
Yeah, right.
They could have given him Bill Belichick, and that dude still would have been a bust because he didn't want it. And sometimes you get a contract, and it used to be different, years ago because you get more money. But sometimes these guys are just good with one contract, and it's all right. I made what I made, and I'm out of the league.
Yeah, and it's not like they're getting nothing now.
First round picks 30, 40 million.
Yeah, 20 the day you sign on the dot, right? 888-710-4ISN. Let's go to Baz, who's in California. Morning, Baz. How you doing?
I'm good. Good morning. Thanks for taking my call. Just my thought. You guys were talking about this last Friday, and just my approach is, what if this is just Archie's dad, just like at a request of his dad? Like, nonetheless, I'm not the athlete. My brothers are. My father is. My son's the athlete. But I want my child to attend 4 years of college, and this could have been maybe a family rule with Pops. Right? I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, both Payne and Eli played 4 years. They fulfilled their 4-year experience. No matter the ups and downs, they got that opportunity. Then I'm looking at it like, okay, let's look at the risk, right? Okay, God forbid he gets hurt in college, that's a risk. But what if it happens in the pros? And then he avoids the 4-year experience? I just look at it, that's how my approach is. And it's maybe I'm trying to minimize the connecting of the dots or aligning the stars on this, and just looking at it simply from an old school family tradition. You attend school no matter what.
Yeah. Baz, listen, I hear what you're saying. I would actually argue the other way, though. If you want to bring in Cooper, Cooper Manning, who's Arch's dad, obviously, he had to quit football because of a very serious spine injury, and his career was cut short. So I think you would, and Arch has talked about this, so what my dad, obviously didn't get to watch, but he said, makes me appreciate every moment and how this can all get taken away so easily. And that's why I play a little armchair psychologist on the Manning family. If Arch is projected to be the number 1 pick in the draft at the end of this season, you go to the NFL, because you have two things. One, he can sort of manipulate where he wants to go, because we saw the Mannings do this with Eli. And two, I think you look at dad and say, this is my chance to leave. I'm going to go.
I never thought about it this way, but I think Cooper being his dad is fascinating.
Yeah.
Because he was a great athlete, and like you said, with all the injury, I think having that perspective of being the brother that didn't quote unquote make it in the public eye. I'm not saying he's living vicariously through his son to an extent where it's a LeVar Ball kind of place, because you don't really hear much from Cooper, like here and there and stuff like that. But I'm sure internally it just must be so sick for him to see his son get this hype, and it probably has to have some flashbacks of what could have been for him, especially when you see the way that the whole family is played out.
Yeah, that's my sort of armchair read. And let's also not forget, like, why did Peyton end up spending 4 years at Tennessee? You know, there are a lot of reports out there that Bill Parcells would not commit to the Mannings, that he would take him number 1 overall, right? That they would not give definitive, we are taking Peyton Manning number 1 overall. That's one read that I've heard that comes out of the New York side a lot. And then the second part, I think they thought he'd go back, maybe win a Heisman, you know, win a national championship, and that didn't end up happening either. And the thing about Eli, you know, I don't know, you know, they did not want Eli to be in San Diego, so obviously very famously, you know, kind of orchestrated Eli going to the New York Giants. The year before, Eli was not getting picked over Carson Palmer. That was not happening. Carson Palmer in the 2003 draft, he was going number 1. So to say like, oh, it's the family rule, you got to stay all 4 years. I think they also look at the situation. I do.
Yeah, I don't buy. I'm with you on that. But what I will say, for years I used to say this. I go, and I don't say this anymore because, you know, I don't think his life is going in a great place. But as a male, if I could trade places with another male, it would be Justin Bieber. You know, I would love
I had no idea what you were about to say.
I would love to be Justin Bieber. Now,
not an athlete? No, too much wear and tear on the body. Yeah, I get it.
The singing, you know, everyone loves you. It's a fun lifestyle, I think, that Justin Bieber has
You really
lived.
think that he looks like he's having a good time?
Well, that's what I'm saying. I'm changing this take. The last 3-4 years,
yeah.
I don't know if I want to be Justin Bieber.
Yeah, no.
I think I
You
may
had me in
want
the first half, Zach, not going to lie.
Yeah.
I don't know. Justin Bieber, remember when he was like, got busted for like public urination? I think he's like a sad childhood star. That's what I see. Anyway.
Yeah, but he could sing, you know.
He could dance.
A lot of ladies love it. Like, I don't think it's a bad thing to be Justin Bieber. But the last few years it hasn't gone well, so I will take that take back. Now I think I want to be Arch Manning. Even if you fail, even if you don't win a Heisman, if you don't win a national championship, even if you go on to be some bum in the NFL, this is not, he needs his college education. This guy's set for life.
Okay, but there's a lot of rich people out there.
But he could be a failure and he'll still live this great life. I think it's a wonderful. I would love to be in the spot that Arch Manning is in right now.
Oh man, I couldn't disagree more. You guys are talking about like these, basically what Arch is kind of like a child star also, right? So you're talking about these child stars like who feel all the pressure in the world on them. I actually think right now, if you are a man in this country,
okay,
I think you got 2 people probably that you would want to trade place with. Now, one is a child star, but he does seem a little adjusted. That's Michael B. Jordan.
Okay.
Box office, huge star.
Yeah.
Now, he was a child actor, but he seems like he's gotten through that.
Okay.
And I think the other one's probably got to be Chalamet, right?
Oh, you know what, Maggie? I was.
Chalamet's good.
And also, see who he's sleeping with these days.
Yeah, right.
That's an excellent one because that's like what Bieber was.
Right.
But Chalamet has a better, you know, I think he's more focused and he hasn't gone through like all the horrors that Bieber has.
He's with the Kardashians now, so just give it a minute.
Yeah. Forget it. The downfall's coming.
Yes.
But I'm trying to think, is there another
or something like that?
Is there like another singer? Like you want to be Morgan Wallen right now? I don't know. Maybe.
Some people might want to be Travis Kelce.
That's not a bad one.
His Q rating went up by what, 1 million literally in the last 2 years?
You could be Kelce. Now, again, the wear and tear on your body. Like, you are going to pay for that at some point.
But his career's almost over. So you're like, all right, I play one more year, and then I'm retired and
get to hang out with Taylor Swift and podcast, let me tell you.
Yeah, that's a
miserable life there.
That's a great life. Yeah, he's really set up.
All right. Are there a lot of guys, though, who want their significant other to overshadow them, though?
No, I think that's a myth. That, like that goes out there. All these men. Well, I don't want my woman to overshadow me. My woman's a billionaire and she's traveling all over the world, and I could just do whatever I want and just sit on the couch and eat and whatever. Yeah, I'm
sit on the couch and eat. You gotta be there for the arm candy.
If I could be Timothy Chalamet, Yeah, Kylie Jenner, hot take of the day. She could overshadow me.
See,
That's
other
fine.
part too about Kelsey. Anything happens, a breakup, you're getting a whole album about you, man. And I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, because like she can. I mean,
Well, they're
Well,
getting
that's
married.
true.
like Jake Gyllenhaal, like he's got to wear that.
Oh, all those guys got it. John Mayer's got it. Everybody's gotten the smoke. I just feel like I don't
John
know.
Mayer's a great one too.
I feel like I'd have
To
the
be
pressure.
John Mayer would be good.
Yeah, he's a good one. I feel like I feel like I wouldn't screw it up. I'd be like, those other clowns, I don't know what they did. You gotta be an idiot to screw it up with Taylor Swift, I think. I mean, like, she's like, it's like screwing up with Beyonce, right? Which Jay-Z almost actually did.
I know.
Like,
Becky with the good hair.
yeah, just sit down and shut up, and you'll be fine.
You should do a dating show. Yeah, like, if I was the program director of the network, EJ, I'd give you an hour on Saturdays to just do a dating show.
And
Just a dating show.
And it's called Sit Down and Shut Up. 888-710-4. Is that 888-710-4476? Why do we think of that? Okay. Lots more to do, including your phone calls. Arch Manning, does he need to have a successful college career? To me, no. It's all about the NFL. We'll talk some more college programs next. What would a successful season look like for the following teams? We get to that next. MVP was Zach Gelb for Perloff.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. 1 minute remaining. "45 seconds remaining. "30 seconds remaining. "15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back to the Maggie and Perloff Show. Zach Gelb in for Perloff today. Just closing a loop from Friday. Did successfully sneak the booze into the town pool. So, hold your applause. Got it in. No doubt. No problems. No issues. No one got overly sloshed. Everyone behaved themselves. All the 40-year-old moms at the pool. We held it together, Zach. But this is what's waiting for you whenever you transition to suburban life. You're going to wonder, how do I get booze into the pool into in a tactful way?
The Kia. Yeah. My parents moved into a 55 and up community.
Yeah.
And the rules in some of these places. And then there's like neighbors that will report you to the board if you violate a rule. You may get a report or something now admitting that you snuck this booze in.
My mom also lives in one of those places, and the rules are a little crazy. But yeah, it was a success. Everything went really well.
I'll give you one of the rules. I was working out by myself. Right, I was 30 years old at the time, now 31. And I was working out at the gym, and they created this rule in this 55. If you're in the gym and you aren't someone that lives in the building, they have to walk you to the gym and sit there. So I didn't really think that was going to be enforced.
Wait, who's sitting there?
Like my dad or my mom. So
you need a chaperone
to
use the treadmill?
Yeah, I need a chaperone.
Wow.
I need an adult to basically hold my hand. So I didn't really think that the rule would be enforced. And I went there, and this guy comes up to me. He goes, you really need an adult here. I go, first off, sir. I go, nice to meet you. I go, I am an adult. And I texted my dad because I felt this guy really breathing down my neck. I go, you need to come over here. And I go, that grumpy old guy sitting over there. I go, that's my adult. I belong to him. But it's stupid, some of these rules. I'm not 14.
Wow.
Yeah.
Don't dare be barefoot in the clubhouse, Zach. The whole year butt to jail. Bogusch has the latest headlines for us.
Wait, so what did you do? Did you go juice box or did you go?
No, I just went with the canned cocktails. So just ones that didn't look like a White Claw or like a High Noon. I went with something a little bit like more easily covered up.
Why didn't you make a Maggie margarita or something like that?
I didn't want a pitcher. I didn't want any of that stuff. I wanted something that could be easily thrown away. Yes.
But just a koozie and a can? Like that was it?
No koozie.
You just openly drank alcohol. Wow. You went renegade.
I did. I found something that was like not off-brand necessarily, but something I had never seen before. And it was just like all one color. You wouldn't have known. And I went to the liquor store. The juice boxes were way more conspicuous. It was like just basically had big like wine on the side. That wouldn't have been good.
Did you bring anything else?
Yeah, I brought a bunch of other drinks like seltzers and stuff like that.
Gotcha.
And you had a great time, right?
Made the pool way better.
I told
Anything
you.
that made you chill out, maybe, that you brought to the pool?
No, actually, the guy said, he's like, you should bring the THC infused drinks then if you guys really want to have a good time. And I was like, yeah, I don't think this crowd is going to be doing that.
Maggie shows up to the pool in like a trench coat.
Like freaking Cheech.
I got edibles here.
No.
A Rolex.
You got to warn people before you do stuff like that. I'm not someone who's like, here, take this. It's just like a White Claw. And all of a sudden it's like, I don't know. Everyone's floating around like Aaron Rodgers talking about caterpillars becoming butterflies. No thanks.
We got the ayahuasca coming up at noon.
No shot.
So a lot happened in Foxborough this weekend. First, the Patriots unveiled their Tom Brady statue Friday night. Compared to Ronaldo and Dwayne Wade, it's a masterpiece. It actually looks like Brady.
Oh, I got to see it. I didn't see it.
It is, at least to me, unnecessarily big. It's 12 feet tall. arms are super long. It's got Maggie's feet. But again,
Yeah.
I think for the most part, it looks like Brady, unlike some of these other ones we've gotten recently.
It's a good statue. The Crafts did a great job on it.
Yeah, I think it looks more like him from the side than from straight on, but no, this is a handsome statue. How did they blow that with Ronaldo? He's like the perfect face.
Right.
And they botched it.
The worst was the Dwayne Wade one.
I think Ronaldo was worse. Wade was terrible. And it's the same guy. How is this dude still employed? Talk about failing up.
Yeah, and not that
Nepo
Jet
baby, probably.
Maybe I don't see the art.
Who knows what secrets that guy has? What pictures he has of some of these owners.
Not that Jet fans were watching this ceremony Friday, but they did not get away unscathed.
This statue isn't just for Pats fans. It'll also give all the Jets fans something to throw their beers at as they leave the stadium every year.
Good line.
Probably in the second quarter. Maybe the third.
Little revision there, remembering where the Pats are, I think. That might take a little extra time to beat the
Yeah,
Jets.
relax, Tom Brady. Okay, we basically ended Bill Belichick's NFL career. And the last time the Jets played in the playoff game against the Patriots,
You guys were irrelevant losers.
And
Irrelevant
And you're now
losers.
irrelevant losers. So, yeah.
But I got
so-
6 championships, so it's great.
Yeah, but Tom Brady's talking about the future, not the past. So, yeah, Tom Brady, maybe, check the standings before you start talking about the Patriots beating teams by 3 scores in the second quarter.
Well,
Give me a break.
it's also very funny to be like, throw beer at my statue. Because, don't worry, the Jets fans will. And then they'll, probably unzip and take a leak on it, too. I mean, I would argue and, hey, deface my statue.
Do I have a hazy memory here? What, doesn't EJ own a Matthew Slater jersey and he was dressed up in a Patriot jersey?
Oh, no, I gave that back to you. Trust me.
Paying
I
off
don't
of
have
that. Yeah, that was a painful day for all of us. We had to wear each other's jerseys, and it
Yeah.
sucked.
By the way, that's my biggest gripe
What's that?
with you.
What?
The fact that was allowed to happen.
What?
And Spike came to your defense when you lost the bet.
That was terrible.
And bailed you out that way and made Perloff and EJ dress up. I never got that. And you pay off your bets.
I do. Well, everyone got mad at me because I tried to claim that it was
Spread.
It was
The spread.
it was the Eagles Bills game. The Bills
like
covered.
usual.
Bills covered.
A devastating overtime loss. It's like, well, the Bills covered, so technically I won the bet.
And Spike got so mad at me. He was like, "Everyone's got to get punished now." I didn't know he was going to go like that. That was not very nice.
And now America had listened to me sing. Congrats, Maggie.
Oh, good God. So Friday was the Brady ceremony. Saturday, just normal media availability after a training camp practice in Foxborough. Wideout Kendrick Bourne complimented for his outfit.
My wife is actually my stylist. Shout out to my wife. She's going to love this. She puts it all together for me. So she's doing good. I don't know what she got ready for me, but we'll see.
So every outfit, she's the one who's...
Yeah, she's behind it all. She's behind it all.
Can you give her... Can I get a number? In a respectful way for the strictly wardrobe part of life.
Hold on, what you mean? Hold on, what is he asking? What are you asking?
He wants her business card.
Oh, business card. Her Instagram's Vanessa Bourne.
Kendrick needed a straight,
Manny's going to start covering Patriots.
No, but why?
Can I get your wife's number?
He needed an interpreter for that question?
No, I'm going to defend Bourne here. I thought they were asking how much did the suit cost. Can I get a number?
No, he wanted to call the wife, but he was asking for fashion advice. I'm assuming he was
a media member if I've ever
Also,
heard one.
Yeah, you can't say that. That's crazy.
Who in the
It's like the
media is
dude in Indy.
dressing like this? Nobody.
No, but I think it was a bad attempt at I'm wearing cargo shorts and a t-shirt. Can your wife help me?
Yeah.
Reporter question.
I'm wearing Tevas now with socks
Right.
type of thing. It's a very nice suit. It's a monochrome blue, right? Is that what we're looking at here? This
I didn't even look at
it's not even outrageous. It's just kind of nice and tailored.
Yeah, he looks nice.
Yeah.
I think every single man knows what "can I get your number" means
Yeah.
when talking about a woman. To use those words is insane. I don't know if the guy was super nervous. I don't know what was going on in his head, but that's actually insane.
Yeah, I don't think it was a romantic question. I think it was a poorly executed joke about how he doesn't dress well.
You've been out of the game for a while, Bogue. So.
You can have her Instagram.
Guys, you think that, I think it was Ben Volen is asking for Kendrick Bourne's wife's number on a microphone?
Oh, that was Ben Volen?
That was Ben? Oh,
Because
man.
later on, somebody
Ben.
goes, I didn't know what Ben was saying. So unless there's another Ben there, I really don't think he was
He's,
asking to steal Kendrick Bourne's wife.
Ben Volen usually doesn't read the room well. I will say that.
Yeah, it was a bad joke. But Vanessa Bourne on Instagram, if you need help.
Joke?
You think that was a joke? I think he was trying to say, what are those
Yeah,
digits?
to help me dress because I'm a slob.
I think he was clumsy. I don't think that he actually wanted to date this guy's wife.
Yeah,
Good God, you guys. Of course not.
No, but I think he was. I
Love Island, NFL training
I don't
camp.
think he was. That was not cool enough or clever enough to come off like a joke.
Ben Volen doesn't have Riz.
Yeah, I think that he just was like, oh, wait a minute, what did I just say? I realized that sounds dumb. Let me rephrase that.
All right, what else?
So wait, okay, but just to be clear, you don't think he was trying to actually get her number to talk to her?
No, I don't think that.
Okay.
We're all on the same page on that.
I wasn't sure that we were, actually. You guys are making me nervous, the two of you.
No shot.
On the field yesterday, the Bears and Dolphins played to a glorious 24-24 tie. Tua played in the preseason for the first time in 4 years, 5 for 6, 27 yards on one long drive that ended by getting stopped at the goal line. The Saints, meanwhile, committed 7 penalties, 3 giveaways, and a 27-13 loss at the Chargers. Eagles Pro Bowl guard Landon Dickerson may have suffered a significant right leg injury last night. He went down on a pass play late in an open practice in Philly, about 50,000 people at the link. Dickerson couldn't put any weight on that leg before being carted off.
Is that why Perloff is out today?
Yeah.
Morning?
But was Dickerson also the guy who was photo bombing the sideline interview?
With the Uncrustables?
Yeah, with
think
with
so.
Lane Johnson. They're doing the interview in Lane, and all of a sudden you just see someone staring into the camera, creepily eating a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. I think it was Dickerson.
Have you ever had an Uncrustable?
Yes.
Yeah.
They're amazing.
I've never had one.
What?
Yeah.
I mean, it's not going to change your life or anything.
Okay.
Debatable. I think it can be life changing.
I just am surprised when the first time I was ever in an NFL locker room when they were handing them out.
Yeah, amazing.
Yeah, after practice at a Jets like open practice, and it's like, all right, here's your Uncrustable. It's like, thanks, Mom. You got any orange slices too?
Yeah, we do. We've got
that
those
was
as well.
There was one kid that was on our football team in high school. I think he was just on the team because his mom always brought the orange slices. I'll never forget. Kid's name was Chris. His mom would always bring the orange slices. She was a saint. One of the best things after 2 days, just getting those orange slices. Team mom.
Mom / equipment manager / dietitian for the team.
Pretty much everything, yeah.
There goes that big dumper again.
And the next pitch swung on, belted deep to right field, a line shot, and it's gone. Goodbye, baseball. There's number 45.
For Cal Raleigh, a 2-run shot and a 4-run first. Seattle staying hot with a 6-3 decision over the Rays. The Mariners on a 7-game run, 9-1 overall in this homestand. They remain a half game behind the Astros in the AL West. Houston, a 7-1 win at Yankee Stadium. And Asia Wilson with the first ever 30-20 game in WNBA history. 32 points, 20 boards. Aces beat the Sun 94-86. Back to you guys.
Bogusch, thank you. Coming up, one team each from every Power 4 conference will tell you what would a successful season look like for those teams. It's the Maggie Perloff Show. Zach Gelb in for Pearl.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 3 minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. .30 seconds remaining. .15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back, Maggie Perloff Show. Zach Gelb in for Pearl today and tomorrow. And we did this with the NFL, and now we're going to switch to college. We were asking, what does a successful season look like for the following 4 teams? So we've gotten through the NFL. So now we're going to start on college, where we have one team from every Power 4 conference. EJ will give us the team, and we will tell you what a successful season looks like this year. Go ahead, EJ.
Okay, so let's begin with the Ponies. A successful season for SMU looks like.
I think they got to be back in the ACC championship game. You got your returning quarterback in Kevin Jennings. This is a good team. It's a program with lots of money. And while I think that Clemson is still going to be very good this year, Zach, I'm penciling them in for the college football playoff. And I'm very curious about Bill Belichick, and I'm curious how FSU responds to a terrible season. I think SMU should be in the ACC championship.
I would say 9 wins. I think last year, some people will look at it and be like, okay, that's an anomaly for them. I talked to Kevin Jennings, their quarterback, last week, and he feels disrespected.
By 9 wins.
No, he feels disrespected just by everyone else in the country because they were in the ACC championship game. They made the college football playoff, and he still feels like they're not getting their due. But the reason why I just say 9 and not ACC championship game, they lost Brashard Smith, who's now with, I believe, Kansas City, had a wonderful season. So I think missing that and then dealing with the success of last year, they're not sneaking up on anybody's radar. So you give me 9 wins after last year's campaign, I'm really damn good with SMU. And by the way, They have a Jordan Hudson, too, at wide receiver.
They do have a Jordan Hudson, but it's J-O-R.
Not Jordan.
D-A-N. He spells it the air quotes regular way. I think people are just a little bit down on Kevin Jennings just because of how bad it looked in the college football playoff, because they were playing in the cold weather and he just did not look like himself. But no, I'm going ACC championship game. All right, EJ, who's next?
All right, let's go to Colorado. Coach Prime, a successful season for the Buffaloes will be
7 wins. They get 7 wins. They clear that over-under. First year without Shedeur and Travis Hunter. I think that's an exceptional season for Colorado. 7 wins.
I wrote down bowl eligible, so obviously that's 6, but I would go with 7. It just can't fall off a cliff. It can't bottom out. And in the Big 12, I don't know if anyone's bottoming out because the teams seem so evenly matched. It just can't look like Shedeur and Travis Hunter were like propping up Coach Prime and that whole staff. So to me, bowl eligible, no matter how you slice it, that will be successful. And then we'll see if Dion even coaches after this upcoming season, considering all the health issues he's had. Who's next?
a little bit of an under-radar team, but some expectations this year. How about Illinois? A successful season for Illinois would be?
This has got to be 10 wins. I mean, they had that last year, and you have Luke Altmaier back. You've got 16 starters overall who are returning for Illinois. So, to me, it's got to be double digits. Are they in the Big Ten title game? I don't know. I think they are fighting tooth and nail for an at-large bid, and we are parsing every part of their schedule and trying to find a way to get Illinois in. So, to me, it's a 10-win team. Are they in? It would have to probably take a real top-to-bottom SEC dominance to keep them out of the college football playoff as an at-large.
I don't think they'll make the Big Ten championship game, but my expectation is they got to make the college football playoff.
Yeah.
If you don't make it now, you'll never make it. You're in a 12-team format. You got Brett Bielema, who's an exceptional coach. You got Luke Altmaier. You need to make the college football playoff, and anything short of that is a massive disappointing season. You only got to be the third or fourth best team in the Big Ten. I'm not saying one or two. Third or fourth, you'll get in.
Yeah, it's just going to be so interesting this year how the committee kind of did not really look at strength of schedule so much last year. Did they do a complete 180 on that? And if they do, Zach, that's going to be good news for the SEC, not the Big Ten. But to me, this is a 10-win team fighting tooth and nail for an at-large bid. They'll probably be the number one team we argue about come college football playoff.
And I would imagine that they do put an emphasis on the strength of schedule, because even though right now entering the season, I think the Big Ten is slightly better than the SEC with winning the last two national championships, college football usually listens to the SEC, and they've been complaining all offseason long about the strength of schedule.
Yeah. Last one, EJ.
Okay, another program on the rise with some expectations. How about South Carolina? A successful season for South Carolina would be?
I love Lenore Sellers. Shane Beamer is such an exciting coach. It's the same thing as Illinois. They got to make the college football playoff. They were arguably the hottest team in the country in the second half of the season a year ago in South Carolina. I know they lost a bunch, but you have your coach, you have your quarterback. Once again, it's the same thing as Illinois. You don't got to be one, you don't got to be two. You got to be the third, the fourth, or maybe even the fifth best team in the SEC, and you'll find your way in the college football playoff.
You and I are going to be lockstep here. I'm not saying the SEC championship game. I think that's a little too lofty, but college football playoff now for South Carolina, I think, is the expectation that would be a successful season. And then probably beyond that, maybe Lenore Sellers then goes to the NFL. Maybe he's a top 10 pick. Maybe even top 5 if he has a really great season. And now South Carolina's like, look at our program, right? It's like we are competing with the best of the SEC. Come here, you'll get drafted as a quarterback, which is, not exactly what South Carolina's been known for historically. So that's where I think this successful season is not just about this year. It's about creating a new identity for South Carolina. Hey, it's not just, Spencer Rattler come here at the end or what have you. This is come here and you will be taken seriously as a top 10 NFL quarterback.
And both those quarterbacks and schools, Illinois and South Carolina, they're in a good spot right now. And the question is, can they get to a great spot? And if they can't make a 12-team playoff this year, then when are you going to make it? These are their two best opportunities that they have right now.
There you go. 888-710-4ISN. Just a quick look around 4 of the Power 4 schools and what would a successful season look like for them. Okay, John is in Boise. We had a conversation last segment about one of the nectar of the gods foods, Uncrustables, and just how popular they are in NFL locker rooms and college too. Good morning, John.
Hey, good morning, guys. So I asked EJ, and he said he didn't know, but the average NFL team goes through like 4,000 or 5,000 Uncrustables per week.
Wait, I'm sorry. Did you say per
insane.
week?
Per week.
Got
The
53 guys
NFL
on
on
the roster.
average, they go through almost 1 million Uncrustables per year.
Oh my
John,
God.
where are you getting this data from? What are you, labor and statistics? How do you know
ChatGPT.
Look
this?
it up. I forget what sports media, whatever, went through and did a survey, and they surveyed almost every NFL team, and that's where they got the numbers.
Okay, wait. Hold on one second. I'm no math whiz here, but let's take 4,000, all right, Uncrustables, and let's divide it by, you got 53 men on the roster, but how many people are really around during the week with practice squad and whatnot? You want to say
The New York Times, it says
75?
the Uncrustables eaten by the NFL in 1 year recover 18 yards of a football field.
But let's say you have 75 guys,
Yep.
right, around all week, and you have 4,000 divided by 75. You're eating 53 Uncrustables per guy.
No, I mean, Maggie, everyone in the facility gets to Uncrustables.
This
like,
is
my brother, he works for the Vikings. Like,
Thank you, John.
they're all, they're all indulging. Is everybody in the building, and the Uncrustables are amazing. So of course,
from Barstool Sports in 2024. NFL teams consume at least 80,000 Uncrustables a year. The large number comes out to about 3,600 to 4,300 Uncrustables a week. So John's number's a little bit off.
That's still an insane number.
can you guess the team that eats the most Uncrustables per week?
Buffalo.
No,
That's
they're-
Zach's guess. What's your guess?
I'm thinking now the Eagles after they were eating them on camera.
Denver Broncos reportedly 700 Uncrustables per
Little
week.
munchies and then the Uncrustables. Makes sense to me. Sean Payton, we know he's pretty good in that department too.
It's true. Man, do you think it's strawberry, grape, raspberry?
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining.
This is Maggie Gray with an Odyssey Sports Minute. This is Maggie Gray with a Sports Minute. Shedeur Sanders got his shot and made it count. The rookie quarterback tossed 2 touchdowns and looked calm under pressure in a 30 to
Pulls his tricks. Shoes to fill, now we're kicking up dust. We hit the street, the ground might just bust. But the control room is quiet, that's the real news thrill. 'Cause people are eating still, ain't showing up for the bill. Maggie called me once, said we're out of lace. I said you'll need a mile to wrap this base. But I'd trade these clompers just one day, you see, to find out where the heck people might be. I'm not a 15, but my 9 still kicks. And I'm here every day while Pete pulls his tricks. He's more MIA.
Down in the YouTube chat where the wild ones roam, there's a legend named Drunkle Never Drinks Alone. He's got caps lock wisdom and a typing hand, defending on Maggie like a one-man band. Y'all back off, he types an all bold. She ain't gross, she's just cold. Yeah, maybe she acting that Yeti one night, but rinse it with bourbon, it'll turn out right. Drunkle sound in the digital stand, swearing up and down, that's my Kim, I'm her man. Is he real, is he fake, no one really knows, but he's got her back through highs and lows. Family's family, he slurs with pride. You don't judge a girl on a rough ride. So here's to the myth and a Yankees hat cam. Raise your bottles full, Drunkle Sam. He claims he taught her to throw a curve and burp the alphabet without losing nerve. Says Maggie's tough, ain't no shame in that. Then spills PBR all over his cat. Selling beats seat, trying to scroll past the mess. But Sam's in the chat screaming, show some respect. Out in Colorado, skies painted blue. Billy laced up, got something to prove. Ryan Rube was talking that big-time game, but left that court with nothing but shame. 6'2", 6'3", it was quick, it was clean. Daly played like he was born on that green. Now he's sitting on top of that local chart. Number one with the champion's heart. Yeah, so raise up a toast, give that man his due. Daly's the king, and the serve was true. He crushed that match like a back row song and left Rube wondering what went wrong. But even with Daly now claiming the crown, the tech god still got Shep beating him down. He stepped.
45 seconds remaining. Seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
If you missed it, Shedeur Sanders made the entire NFL look silly over the weekend. Welcome to the show, Maggie Gray. Zach Gelb in for Perloff today and tomorrow. And listen, was it, Patrick Mahomes out there? No, but it's the first preseason game, Zach. And Shedeur Sanders did really well. Showed off the accuracy, 2 really phenomenal touchdown throws, passes that were just spectacular because it was exactly where the receiver could catch it and where the defenders could not get to it. Now, was there some running around? There was a little bit of backpedaling, stuff that he got criticized for at Colorado. Yeah, but it's the first preseason game. He was going up against some of the Carolina starters, or a lot of the Carolina defensive starters, and he appointed himself very well. We all knew it at the time. He's not a 5th-round draft pick, which makes this thing even more maddening because I don't think the Browns are considering him for QB1, and now it's going to be a real fight for QB2.
And then also, I think what people need to do is they just need to praise Shedeur today. Because if this was something where Shedeur went out on the field and stunk up the joint, we would be leading the show today. Shedeur wasn't ready. Shedeur's not an NFL quarterback. So he played well, really well. Yeah. Was he great? Was he perfect? No. But he passed the test, and he hasn't really got a whole lot of experience so far in the NFL, on the NFL level, not just because he's barely been in the league, because the way that they're dividing up these reps, he hasn't been with the ones. So he exceeded expectations, and he played very well, where now they need to give him more opportunities. And if the season were to start tomorrow, yeah, they're starting Joe Flacco. But Shedeur Sanders, I don't care about Kenny Pickett's hamstring. I don't care about Dylan Gabriel's hamstring. Shedeur Sanders should be the backup quarterback in Cleveland.
See, the funny part about this is what do the Browns really think is going on this season? That's what I'd love to know. Do they really think that they are a playoff team with this room of quarterbacks? No. Do you really think you're a playoff team? So to me, why Shedeur wouldn't get more reps with the ones or take his development. I'm not saying they're not taking it seriously, but sometimes you do question, and this is my biggest question about the Browns. And I know this got a lot of blowback when I said it felt like loaded dice against Shedeur for some reason that I couldn't understand why the Browns weren't giving him more opportunities. The moment when Pickett and Gabriel are both hurt to the point where they're not going to start them against Carolina, to the fact that they signed Snoop Huntley off the street to come in just to have another body. When you don't get any reps with the ones after that, that's what I didn't understand. Now, people said, well, he's going to be out there with mostly the twos. Yeah, I get it. But you are now prepping a guy for a preseason game. It just turns out maybe the Browns don't care as much about preseason as they do the joint practices, because that's where Joe Flacco is getting all the reps, basically.
I also think you have to deal with the relationship, too, that the coach and the general manager, regardless of what they said, did not want Shedeur Sanders.
I don't think so either.
I fully believe that this was Haslam calling the shots.
Yeah.
And I do think that Shedeur eventually should play, but he will play and will start games this year, because if the Browns are bad, and hot take of the day, the Browns are going to be bad this year.
Yeah.
That owner is going to say, Stefanski, Andrew Berry, we did it your way earlier in the season. Now we got to go play Shedeur, because at the worst case, even if it's only a one-year experiment and they draft a quarterback in the first round next year, that becomes another savior of Cleveland. Shedeur drives people into the building, drives people to click and watch and talk about your team. And the Browns, if it wasn't for Shedeur entering this season, would be irrelevant this year.
We're talking about Shedeur Sanders did well in his preseason debut on Friday. And I think this is where also the rest of the NFL looks a little silly, which is this idea of this boogeyman of the Sanders is like coming to take over your franchise. You know, the fact that like Dion, you know, the moment you draft Shedeur, well, now Dion's over your shoulder and he's going to be the next head coach, or that Shedeur is going to come in and act like some kind of entitled, spoiled brat. Didn't happen in Colorado, by all accounts. And Dion has got way bigger issues, not just because of his health, although that is a huge thing. Turns out the guy's been battling bladder cancer this entire offseason. Does this look like somebody who's coming to take over your program? No, he's probably going to coach a year, maybe two more at Colorado, and then I can't even imagine.
Live his life.
Well, and hopefully it's a good quality of life, because, you know, he's already gotten toes amputated. He's got blood clot issues. Now he got the bladder cancer that thankfully is gone now. But I mean, the guy, it doesn't seem like somebody who's about to stage a coup into your NFL team. So this whole, like, again, I call it like the boogeyman, like somehow the Sanderses were just going to come in and all of a sudden you don't recognize your team anymore, or they're calling all the shots. That was never a real thing. It was just a fantasy, or it was a nightmare, or it was like something you dream up. And I think that's another reason why the NFL looks a little silly, because you look at Shedeur's talent, there was no reason he should have fell to the fifth round.
In the year of 2025, the sports world makes the Sanders more polarizing than what they actually are. Like, don't get me wrong, Shedeur botched the pre-draft process.
Sure.
But Shedeur in Colorado, he did a lot of things that I want to see from my quarterback. The only other criticism I had of Shedeur is when he threw the offensive line under the bus after the Nebraska game. Yeah. We all knew the offensive line wasn't great, but you don't do that as a quarterback. Outside of those two things, and some people may be like, oh, those are major. Oh, you can't do that. I have had no problem with the way that Shedeur has handled himself the last 2 years, and also Coach Prime. They made a one-win Colorado football program become the epicenter of the college football world for September 2 years ago. And last year, if they didn't lose to Kansas, there's a good chance they're in the Big 12 championship game. And if you're in the Big 12 championship game, you're in the college football playoff. This is a story we should celebrate. This is a story that we should like. And I am rooting for Shedeur this year. I want to see Shedeur Sanders light it up, because there's nothing more that I like than when a quarterback plays well and people be like, oh, you can't draft him, or, oh, you know, this kid's never going to work. And he just gives a giant middle finger to the league. I love those stories.
Well, I said on Friday, the Browns have done something that even I thought was impossible, which is make the Sanders family underdogs. There's nothing that you ever associate Prime with being an underdog. Deion Sanders is not an underdog. They have haters. They have people who don't like them. But no one ever says, oh, gosh, you know, that upstart Sanders family.
And Shiloh played well this weekend, too, in Tampa Bay.
And
don't forget about Shiloh.
Can't forget about Shiloh, yeah.
He's the Cooper Manning of that family.
Well, hopefully not with the same spine injury. He's going to be dealing out some. Okay, so you're welcome to weigh in on Shedeur. 888-710-4ISN, 888-710-4476. Does the NFL now look a bit silly? Because clearly you had teams who needed quarterbacks who passed on Shedeur, and he looked good in this preseason game. All right, let's get to our one big question about the quarterback.
I feel so lucky to be the quarterback.
It's the position everyone wishes they could play.
Why can't I be quarterback, huh? Sit down and shut up.
But it's not for the faint at heart.
Quarterbacks are premium.
I think those things add up to make it quarterbacking the toughest job in sports.
Maggie and Perloff answer one big question about the quarterback.
All right, EJ's going to give us the question. We are actually in the AFC North. We're not talking about the Browns today, though. Who are we talking about, EJ?
We are talking about the Pittsburgh Steelers, and they made a big decision in terms of their quarterback position by deciding to do Aaron Rodgers for what appears to be a one-year rental. So I asked Maggie and Zach, are the Steelers better off having gone with this one-year rental to solve their long-term quarterback conundrum in Pittsburgh?
Well, listen, it doesn't solve anything long-term, but I like the move that the Steelers made because their roster and their coach are too good to bottom out. It's not happening. It's not what the Steelers are doing. So they're going to have to find their quarterback elsewhere. This is a team, Zach, that I know it's been 8 years since they've won a playoff game, but this is a roster capable of winning playoff games in the AFC. With a healthy Aaron Rodgers, I know sometimes he can be a lot.
Winning playoff games?
Winning playoff games. Well, first you got to win a game.
Yeah.
You got to win a playoff game.
I don't think they're capable of winning games, and quite frankly, I don't even know if they'll make the playoffs this year. Like, I look at the Steelers. DK Metcalf. Jalen Warren's going to have more on his plate. You don't really have a number 2 wide receiver now. The offensive line is still a question mark. The defense did not play well in the second half of the season last year, and they were dealing with injuries across the board. I get it. Mike Tomlin is a really good coach, but I look at the Steelers. They needed a reset season. They are stuck in this place where they're just rotating in cast-offs or veteran quarterbacks. That's not solving the long-term issue, and they need to solve the long-term issue. I would issue an edict to Mike Tomlin, and it would be the next 2 years, you either got to win a playoff game or get us a franchise quarterback, or yes, I can fire you. Yes, I can move on from you. The Patriots got rid of Bill Belichick. The Eagles got rid of Andy Reid. Mike Tomlin's a really good coach. He's never been below 500. He's won a Super Bowl. The standard of the Pittsburgh Steelers is no longer winning Super Bowls. It's, can they win a playoff game?
Yep.
We're not talking about South Harmon Institute of Technology. We're talking about the Steelers here.
Yeah. I think you got to do like a walk before you run thing, and the walking is getting back to winning playoff games. So you and I disagree. I think Aaron Rodgers can win you playoff games, and I think they will. The thing is about some of these teams, like, you can't expect that you are going to bottom out and get a top 5 pick. And
it also pan out.
What's that?
The pick also pan out, too. That's a big
And the pick pan out. I mean, I think if the Steelers were picking top 5, I think they would probably get it right. But anyway.
Good environment, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you're set up for success there. But it's going to have to come from somewhere else. It's either going to have to come from, in the 20s, which they tried to do with Pickett, but I think they got a little blindsided by him being in the building. And that's Mike Tomlin. I'm putting that on him. That was bad. It takes a long time for franchises to move on after, like, Hall of Famers. They're going through those trials and tribulations, and I like the fact that at least they're still going for it. You're not doing this tank for Cade or what. I don't even know if we have a fancy rhyme for this. But
Fade for Cade.
What is it?
Oh, that's a good one.
Fade for Cade.
Fade for Cade. It's just, I don't know. More often than not, you do that kind of stuff. Sometimes it works. Like, you can suck for luck, and that's cool. But then you tank for Tua, and you still haven't won a playoff game. So if you're the Dolphins, I like the fact that they are at least trying to win playoff games. That's what Aaron Rodgers signals to me.
What is, though, Aaron Rodgers now? Because the last 3 years, he was bad at the end in Green Bay, threw that interception or interceptions up against the Lions, then had the Achilles injury 3 plays into the Jets' tenure. And last year, I know people go, he played well down the stretch, but the first part of the season was dreadful, and he looked washed. So what is Rodgers now?
Well, I also think the Jets contributed to how bad that season was. I do. You can't, divorce the Jets from jetsing that up, which is firing the head coach, firing the general manager in season. It was such a mess there. I think that Rodgers looks maybe, I don't know if as good, but Favre with the Vikings. I think
that's an NFC Championship game.
That was an NFC Championship game. Guys. Ooh. I don't know if it's going to be AFC. It's a gauntlet right now in the AFC.
So you know what it is?
It's Chiefs, it's Bills, it's Ravens. There's a lot. Who knows what's going to happen with Jim Harbaugh and the Chargers this year? You got Houston. There's maybe Cincinnati if their defense can get it together. There's a lot of good teams in the AFC. But winning a playoff game, yes.
I'm going to give you a pass because you always fear the worst with your football team and the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah, why wouldn't I?
I understand. But the Bills still are the second or third best team in the AFC.
Yeah.
The Steelers are nowhere close to competing in a playoff game with the Chiefs, with the Buffalo Bills, with the Baltimore Ravens. They're nowhere in that stratosphere. If everything goes great for the Steelers this year, and I mean great, maybe they could be the fourth best team in the AFC, but I would take my chances with the Texans over them right now. I would trust the Broncos over them right now. Just those two teams for starters. The Steelers, if they win a playoff game this year, that's them winning the Super Bowl. And that's a big problem for that organization.
We do not care.
888-710-4ISN.
Well, you better, Mike. I know you're listening right now.
888-710-4476. Now, I do think Rodgers was a good idea. One thing I'll give you.
3 years ago.
Well, one thing I'll give you. This Rodgers-Tomlin bromance, I think they realize it has a shelf life. Like, that we're just here for 1 year, and let's see what we can do for each other here for this 1 year, because it does feel a little much, you know? Like, I get having respect and the mutual respect. It felt a little much. We talked about this when it happened, Zach, and I'm sure you talked about it on your show, too. This, like, when the McAfee show happened to be in Pittsburgh, or Latrobe for training camp, and it felt like a weird, like, victory. It was just very much about and listen, you want positive vibes. I'm not going to yuck the yums of a Pittsburgh Steelers fan who wants to get excited about Aaron Rodgers, but it just felt a little too celebratory when you haven't done anything.
You know what it is?
That part threw me off a little bit, but I'm going to maintain the course that they're going to win a playoff game.
I am a huge, and I mean a huge reality TV fan.
Really?
So sometimes on these reality TV shows, what I've learned is that the couple you fall in love with, they have a boyfriend or a girlfriend before the show.
Oh, yeah.
And it was just a money grab. And it was just one of those things where it was all to get the sponsorship deals and get the following. And then you find out, oh, this couple that I love that went through all these terrible times on the show and people hated them. Oh, she had a boyfriend or he had a girlfriend before the show and still does? That's what I think this relationship is. Rodgers and Tomlin, well, we think Rodgers is married.
Yeah.
They have
Brittany with an I.
Yeah, they have someone, and they're getting put on this reality TV show, and they're just doing this all for the cameras. And then once the show ends, once the season ends, I believe there's going to be some things that come out where it wasn't always lovey-dovey.
Well,
Mike T is the man.
If it goes poorly. If it goes poorly and if it devolves or whatever, then yeah, you're probably going to hear some after the fact, like, oh, it wasn't as good as we thought it was.
I'm rooting for 8 and 9, 9 and 8.
So here's the thing though. With reality TV, of course everyone's in it for the money grab. Who's actually in this for what?
Some people are looking for love.
Yeah, some people are looking for love.
You guys.
DJ Paulie D found they're not married yet, but they're trending towards getting engaged. He found his girl through a dating show.
Do you guys hear yourself?
Double shot at love.
Oh, come on. You haven't seen Lauren and Cameron on season 1 of Love is Blind. If you don't think that's real love, Maggie, then I don't know what to tell you.
EJ and I know you like reality TV, correct?
Yeah. Bachelor, Love is Blind.
EJ and I are big on the reality TV. There was this Grant Crap guy. He fell in love with this girl, Taylor. And this is when I was really annoyed with Love Island.
Yeah.
And they had this relationship, and they were just such an awesome couple. And then you found out that he had a girlfriend before the show.
Yeah.
And I was hooked to this for 2 weeks after the show. People were stalking him, like TMZ interviews and all that. And the guy was a fraud.
Yeah. You realize that's a you problem. That's not his problem. That's you, that you
Yes, it
fell
is.
for anything on television. We know how television is made.
I think you live an honest life. I think I live an honest life. I don't think we hide much from the listeners here.
Yeah, we're not in bikinis and bathing suits trying to hook
Speak
up
for
on
yourself. You don't know what I do 3 to 6. I'm walking in with no shirt. I make this place frigid. Ad gets annoyed at me. It's wonderful.
We knew how your ratings were so high. It's because you're giving everyone the eye candy. It's like cheating. 888-710-4ISN, 888-710-4476. There's no, I'm trying to think of what's the closest reality show to actual, like, altruistic life, or like something
She's
that's
a big word for 8:17 in the morning.
Genuine.
You know, like an Extreme Makeover. I guess
that's what I was thinking.
It's technically a reality show, I guess you would say.
Like building somebody a house. That's nice.
Yeah. I think is there something up with that, though, where the houses aren't all that, or something? They always have issues later on.
Oh, you like push on something and it falls over
Yeah,
like
I
a
think sometimes
set?
that's an issue. I know that was the issue with Pin My Ride. Like that was a thing where like they got the cars from West Coast Customs,
Yeah.
and then it had all these issues, or they just get like robbed like as soon as they got off a lot because it has an Xbox in the back.
Yeah. That was a great reality show.
Oh, it's amazing.
I'm
Shout out to
surprised that Exhibit never got another hosting gig.
Yes.
X to the Z. He was so
Rescue.
genuinely fun on that show.
Are you a Bar Rescue fan?
I've interviewed that guy, Jake Taffer.
John Taffer. I actually dressed up as him for Halloween one year.
Nice.
He just wear a black shirt and a blue sports coat and you yell at people, so that was pretty good for me. But when they're sitting there and they see something disgusting in the car and he goes, "I'm going in!" Oh, electric television. Awesome. Just totally undressing the owner of this small business that's failing. I think it's phenomenal.
I can't believe you guys really think people go on reality shows looking for love.
Of course some of them do. Not all of them, but some of them definitely do.
People have an IQ of 5.
How long have you been married to the Pele of kickball?
My husband's an excellent kickball player. We've been married for 11 years.
Yeah. So it's you're kind of blinded by your love. you don't want anyone else to find love.
No, but if there was an opportunity for us to make millions of dollars if he went on another show and pretended to fall in love with somebody else, I would absolutely let him do it.
You would be fine with that because there's a lot of touchy stuff. They go to the Hideaway. I don't know if you're loving that. All right?
It's like an indecent proposal. Where if I rent out my husband that he's never going to come back.
Andrea has floated that maybe you should go on those shows and get us some money. I'm just like, really? I would never let you do that.
I'd be a little worried you'd come back with a cold sore.
Yeah,
they make out way too much in these shows. They are so gross with the kissing. It is so gross to watch somebody actually kiss on TV, not like a stage kiss. There's a reason why actors are so much better at this and why the end of The Notebook is so great or whatever. When people are actually kissing, it is disgusting to me.
Would you?
No?
Okay, so someone
I'm
once
alone
asked,
on this
let
one?
me. Someone,
I got you.
Someone once asked me this. Would you give sauces, right?
Sauces.
When you cook sauces, spices, all that stuff.
Sure.
Right? Everyone loves sauces and spices. Would you give up sauces and spices for just making out with your significant other? Which one do you prefer? Which one do you prefer more?
If I can make out with my husband or if I can have salt and pepper on my food?
Or any kind of sauce.
I mean, I have to pick my husband.
Okay, I'm just asking. I think I'd pick the sauce.
I think I'd pick the sauces. Now, so.
I think I'd pick this. Now, if you go further down the the
depth chart.
Yeah, the depth chart of things that could happen. I think I would say goodbye to the sauces. But just kissing, I'm kind of with you. I think I'd give up the sauces. Who needs a little barbecue sauce?
I do like ketchup.
I'd rather have barbecue sauce than making out with someone. That's just me.
Such an odd one. Mm-hmm. I've been really into hoisin sauce lately. So Andrew's got to take a backseat. 888-710, different Andrew, not Perloff. 888-710-4ISN, 888-710-4476. Gets confusing. Okay. Lots to do, including where did that conversation start? Aaron Rodgers. Was this the right move for the Steelers?
You go down the Rodgers rabbit hole, you never know what's going to happen.
True.
Yeah, that's also one thing I would not do with a significant other. I'm not doing some kind of ayahuasca trip. No way.
Oh, never.
I mean, I'm not doing that anyway because that's not my bag, but, kudos to you if you want to do it.
I think it'd be a relaxing experience.
Relaxing? Have you heard what happens when you're on ayahuasca? You're essentially vomiting for 8 hours and confronting all your childhood traumas. It's not for me.
Maybe get a gummy and just chill out on the couch.
But I'm just thinking, I think that's a very solitary thing that you want to do. Not just all right, we do this. It's insane. And then we go back to our regular life of did you switch the clothes from the washer to the dryer? Or who's picking up Lucas today? That kind of stuff. I can't imagine having this mind-altering, bending, once-in-a-lifetime experience. And then all of a sudden we're did you forget, the gallon of milk?
EJ, I need the number for Child Protective Services. We're talking about Maggie doing ayahuasca and then picking up her child.
Yeah, not on the same afternoon.
What are you going, drifting next?
Yeah. No, I'll leave that to your guy. 888-710-4ISN. Okay, question for the group. If your number one wide receiver and maybe best player on the team gets absolutely rocked on the sideline by a referee, is it cause for concern? We'll talk about the Cowboys next. Maggie and Perloff Show. Jaxson for Pearl.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 4 minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. .30 seconds remaining. .15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie Perloff show. Zach Gelb sitting in for Perloff today and tomorrow. Perloff is on a much-deserved vacation. Zach just got back from Banff, Canada. You just like that? You went there for the weekend?
Yeah, we about 7 or 8 months ago, my friends and I in Philly, for when I went to college at Temple, we were out for dinner. And we're having a few drinks, just like 6 of us guys, and we go, oh, let's go on a vacation.
Yeah.
And just do a guys trip. And one of
you're
my
like,
buddies
Vegas.
proposed Banff. Well, we did Vegas recently for a bachelor party,
Got
same
it.
group. So proposed Banff. It was very enjoyable.
Now, we're on the West Coast and a lot of places where Banff is probably a pretty, normal kind of destination spot but from New York, I feel like a lot of people don't circle Banff. I mean, it's a far way to go. It looked gorgeous, though.
There's a certain, class and sophistication level,
Yeah.
I would say.
And when
You
we
got to
think
be
of
a
Zach
little
Gelb,
bougie.
We think of class and sophistication.
Yeah, I'm bougie. I'll be the first one to say, everyone's got to be a Jap here and there. So this was my Jap trip.
Were you glamping? Were you like
No, we had
outlets in the trees? and
we had a very nice Airbnb.
Yeah, no, this is an Airbnb. VRBO, maybe. So 3 guys in a cabin in Banff.
Yeah, everyone had their own bed. It was very enjoyable.
What'd you do to pass the time? Just hike a lot?
We went to Lake Moraine, Lake Louise. We also went out to a lot of dinners. There was a wildlife tour where we did not see any animals, which was a little bit disappointing. So then on the way back to
big
Castle,
commercial for Banff right now.
Squirrels.
Well, I thought I'd be seeing bears out the wazoo. There's only 130 bears in Banff, and on that tour, that you're not usually don't see them. They let them kind of be.
Yeah.
And there was this one bear, like there's a legendary tale. I think his name was Skokie or something like that, where he got too comfortable with the people, and he went into a bakery and was basically trying to order like a muffin
croissant?
or
Yeah.
a croissant.
Wow.
Yeah.
The Zach Gelb of Bears.
And he got too close. Yeah, pretty much.
Holy smokes.
And he got too close to the people, so they had a choice to make. So they say in the tour, we could destroy the bear. I'm like, oh, that's like a big word. Or they could put him in a zoo, and that's where Skokie, I think his name was, lived the rest of his life in a zoo.
Huh. Ever go on a tour and don't see any of the wildlife? What do you do
Well,
there?
I knew it was a disaster.
Do you get like a refund?
I knew it was a disaster. They go, it's a wildlife tour. It's Banff and a wildlife tour. Their quota for and the wildlife tour. The only bad part about the trip was just talking about the wildlife.
Got it.
When the guy doing the
boring.
tour, who always has a soothing voice, goes, all right, you may not see any animals, but there is a deer over there to your right. I'm like, all right, great. I could go to New Jersey to see the deer. So, but it was beautiful. Highly recommend
saw
it.
5 deer on the way here this morning, and I was just lucky I didn't hit one of them. Banff made me want to go. Bogusch has headlines for us. Good morning.
And a little breaking sports media news this morning. UFC and Paramount Plus have reportedly agreed to a 7-year, $7.7 billion deal starting in 2026. All UFC fights will be on the streaming service, some airing on CBS as well. And most importantly, no more pay-per-view. Everything will be included in whatever you pay for Paramount Plus.
I'm actually going to UFC this weekend in Chicago.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, a lot going on here behind the scenes, right? Paramount is being
A sellout? Yes.
no.
Dan, if you're listening, I like the UFC.
No, the Sky Dance, right? Aren't they having some kind of
That's done. Yeah, that's done.
It's done. Okay,
Yes.
so they're kind of changing hands behind the scenes. Well, one thing that didn't get really reported, it got reported a lot that ESPN sold 10% of their company to the NFL. So the NFL now has a 10% stake in ESPN. What didn't get as reported is that Skydance, Paramount, did the same thing. And the NFL now has an equity, I don't know if it's 10%, but also bought into CBS.
So I am going out of my lane here.
Sure.
But I did tune in to SummerSlam, which was on Peacock.
Yeah.
And I didn't have to pay for a pay-per-view, which when I watched wrestling when I was a kid, you'd always have to pay for the pay-per-view.
Right.
So is this the same thing that if you just subscribe to Paramount Plus, you then get all of UFC?
Yes. Now, there are there's at least 2 levels of Paramount Plus, like one with ads, one without, to oversimplify. I don't know if both will have the same thing, but now like what UFC is on ESPN and you get like the prelims and then you have to pay for the fight.
Yeah.
Now it's like your wrestling example, everything will be on Paramount Plus for the price you pay to have the streaming service.
That's unfortunate. Selfishly, I have a unlimited Disney streaming account because I have a buddy that works there. So I get all those fights for free. Now I got to pay for Paramount Plus.
Well, I mean, you also get
David
Nickelodeon.
Marinick, I need a raise. Just saying.
So, but you're not going to see any fights just like, for me, CBS is Channel 2. You're not going to see any fights on Channel 2.
This says sometimes, I don't know what they're going to decide. I don't know if some things will be on CBS. What those specific things are, I don't know. But some will also air over normal TV.
Probably what Bogusch is saying, the
prelims.
The preliminaries. Will
Yeah, my guess is they're not going to give you, whatever is the main event.
John Jones is not fighting on CBS, is what you're saying.
Right. Yeah.
Which is a problem. Like, I mean, we think about boxing, and boxing used to be like my dad, he was a big boxing fan. He'd be like, I remember just turning on Channel 2 as Muhammad Ali.
Right.
And I'm like, that feels like the prehistoric ages, the way you're telling me. When I think about what boxing is now, what combat sports are now, I like that whole shift to the pay-per-view model, like maybe was good for the time, but has absolutely been so outdated that everyone needs to be going backwards, which I think is what some of these people are trying to do.
Have you guys heard, John Skipper, the former president of ESPN, he has been very, very adamant that at some point the Super Bowl will be a pay-per-view event.
Ugh.
I don't think there was a time where I thought that was happening, and now I don't think that's ever going to happen.
Would you rather have the Super Bowl be a pay-per-view event or the Super Bowl be in London?
Well, where it is,
London.
Yeah, I was saying, where it is doesn't really mess with us because they'll probably make the start time whatever they need to for American audiences. No,
Yeah, but I don't love the Super Bowl being off U.S. soil. If I'm
Really?
just being honest, yeah.
Why? What does it matter?
I just don't like it.
Got it.
Like, let's take it to all the other cities first before we suck up to London.
I mean, we've
right.
gone to like almost every city now, right?
Well,
like
every
all the
city
cities that you'd want.
or that could handle
Yeah.
something like that.
Yeah,
I'm
and
a
the
big
weather.
Bills fan. I'm under no pretenses that the Super Bowl is going to be in Buffalo.
And then also the loser of the Super Bowl is going to use that as an excuse. Oh, the travel was unbearable. Oh, the time
You get there
adjustment.
a week before.
I just know how
Yeah.
the excuses are. I know a thing or two about losers and the excuses they make. That's what the losers are going to do. 100%.
All right.
Shedeur Sanders wasn't the only rookie QB trying to show off this weekend.
4 on the line of scrimmage for the Chargers. They rushed just 3. And look at this, intercepted. There's Rodgers on his horse, left sideline to the 20, to the 15, to the 10, to the 5. Touchdown, Chargers, no flags. Eric Rodgers, the rookie out of Rutgers, with a 45-yard pick six.
Mad Money Smith, Chargers Radio, Saints rookie Tyler Shuck threw that pick six. He did have a touchdown pass, 165 yards overall, but he was also sacked twice yesterday. Spencer Rattler lost a fumble. Jake Haener was picked off. And that completes your update on the least cared about three-way QB battle this summer.
Oh, shucks.
The Saints losing the Chargers 27-13 in L.A. after neither the Bears nor the Dolphins won in Chicago, a 24-24 tie. The Bears rested Caleb Williams and 9 other offensive starters. The defense had an early goal line stop and sacked Miami QBs 6 times. Fingers crossed in Philadelphia. Eagles Pro Bowl guard Landon Dickerson may have suffered a major right leg injury at practice last night. He could barely put weight on that leg as he was helped off the field, eventually carted to the locker room. It appears that the Milwaukee Brewers cannot lose a baseball game.
2-2. Fly ball to deep right. It is back. Soto back. Out of here. Isaac Collins walks it off against the Mets. You can't make it up.
And that's how Andrew's Sunday was ruined. Isaac Collins, a game-ending solo homer, bottom 9, a 7-6 win over the Mets, who happened to lead 5-0 and 6-3 in this game. The Brew Crew on a 9-game winning streak, improving their MLB best record to 73-44. They are 6 games clear of the Cubs now, atop the NL Central. Those
is it that the Brewers can't lose, or that the Mets can't win?
Well, both. The Mets have now dropped 7 in a row. They are 5.5 behind the Phillies in the East. They are roughly 3-50 since June 1st.
I'll be a company guy here. When the game got tied, Mets and Brewers yesterday, I turned on my shower and I turned on the Odyssey app and listened to the game. And I go, I do not want to see this.
Yeah.
Did you get in the shower or you just turn the water on?
I turned the water on. I took the speaker outside. I wasn't trying to electrocute myself or anything. And I listened to the game because I wanted to be in a peaceful environment and deal with the shower as the Mets were going to blow the game. I knew it.
I wonder about that from the play-by-play aspect. Do you, Bogusch, you do some play-by-play. Do people understand how much play-by-play is consumed in the nude? Because I think a lot of people...
I hadn't thought about that, man. I thought you were going to ask about if you feel bad when the team is playing badly.
Keith Rad's now thinking, ooh, there was a 6'4" husky Gelb in a shower as the shampoo went through his scalp, body wash down his shoulders.
Because, one of the tricks of broadcasting is we think about our audience, and what you guys want and what you'd want to hear, but you can't think about individual people, or else, it just becomes a little overwhelming, right?
Next time I see, hey, Keith, I listen to you when I'm on the toilet.
I don't even have to respond to that because once again, you've zigged where most people would zag. I, again, thought you were going to go with if you're an announcer and your team is 3-50 over the last 3 weeks, are you also heartbroken? And instead you went, do you know how often people are naked listening to you?
Well, podcasts too. I mean, we're just listening to stuff all the time now. Don't we all listen to the shower? Or you guys don't listen to stuff in the shower? You do, because it's also
music usually though.
It's like efficiency is also like sometimes I want to listen to something. You know, I got a kid. I'm a mom. I don't have a lot of time. And so I need to listen anytime I've got a moment to myself.
Well, also you put it on so when your husband's like, all right, get out of the shower. Lucas needs to change the diaper. You could just ignore him because you had this music playing.
If you're still wearing a diaper now, we'd have some bigger issues. He's 15.
I thought your child was like 2. And Maggie's like, Lucas is 6. I go, when did that happen?
I know. Yeah. Anyway, all right, maybe just me. Sorry.
I think you might listen to things too much, so you just happen to be naked often when you're listening to things.
It's all the time.
Because you do walk in and you're like, I heard this, I was listening to that, and there was this, and there was Tigers radio and Lions.
I don't know where Maggie has the time.
Well,
right?
We know what Maggie's doing. She's showering between 3 to 6, and she's listening to the Zach Gelb show. That's what she's doing right here on the Infinity Sports Network. You're such a great teammate.
Listen, a lot of things consumed.
All 3 hours.
Like media. I should make that more clear. Anything else, folks?
No, I'm good on that. Back to you guys.
Okay. It's like hot potato. No,
Everyone
back
put
to
your
you.
clothes on, by the way.
Back to you.
Get to your job.
I'm sure there are people listening to us right now showering, getting ready for work.
What's
and
up?
I'm thinking about you.
Want to take a shower and listen to Infinity Sports Network?
And by the way, we're telling you there's
where's
a
that
mole
loofah?
on your back that you should really get checked out.
Shower and sports right here on the Infinity
That's
Sports
when
Network.
Hickey was doing it.
That was his one good idea.
Yeah.
I got to be honest.
I
takes.
snuck into his apartment and clogged the drain, was hoping that water was going to just go over his cabeza.
Trying to drown him?
Yeah.
Ryan
Did you
Hickey
hear
was
some of those takes that he has?
giving takes in the shower.
I'm trying to save future
It was a good idea.
generations.
I was just waiting for a wardrobe malfunction with the camera that goes the wrong way and something bad happening.
Falls.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
What's
Hickey.
that little zucchini in there?
Oh, no, not funny. 888-710-4
He brushes
ISN.
his teeth in the shower. Do you know that?
I know people do that.
Ugh.
It's not
That's
not me.
sanitary.
But how many
Yeah,
of
it
you
is.
who's ever drank a beer in the shower?
Yeah.
What?
Oh, EJ, you haven't lived.
You know nothing, EJ.
Drink a beer in the shower?
Dude,
That's
don't knock it.
Little
Yeah.
natty in the shower.
You got to be efficient when you're getting out to the bar, so you're showering and drinking.
I'm telling, and EJ's not a drinker, so that's fine. EJ and Perloff both not into it. Totally understand, but man, a beer in the shower sometimes, like a pregame situation,
Yeah.
you're about to go out, you got to do it. And
What?
it's
All
just
the
so
soap?
good.
All the soap
Maggie's got
everywhere?
that dog in her, I will say.
Well,
Let
the
me
question is,
tell ya.
are you still having shower beers? Because my last one was like when I was 27.
Yeah, mine might have been around 2005. But
Okay,
man,
good.
It was great while it lasted. Cans only, by the way. Don't bring glass in there.
I'll give you a number to AA after the show, all right?
No, I'm good. But it's just, it's great. It's the hot water. It's the cold beer.
Yeah. And again, you can control where the
people.
suds go, EJ. Like it's
Yeah, it sounds wild. I'm drinking soap.
What's your shower
Maggie
like?
actually chases it with Dove, all right?
Yeah, because I'm an animal. All right. Coming up, thank you, Bogusch. We will get to CeeDee Lamb got nearly speared. It looked like WWE on the sideline by a referee, but is there reason to panic? And also the M&P 500, whose stock is up, whose stock is down after a huge weekend. Don't move.
You're in a 5-minute break.
Real down in the Rockies where the air runs thin, a showdown was brewing and the stakes ran big. Ryan Rube walked tall with a confident grin, but Daly showed up with a mean backspin. He came out swinging with a fire in his soul. 4 hands like thunder, had one simple goal: to take that crown, to claim his run. And when the dust cleared, he was #1. Yeah, now Rackets, raise up your glass to the viewer named Daly, who kicked Maker class 6'2", 6'3". Yeah, he made it look fun. Now he's wearing the crown, the new #1. But even with glory and pride in his name, some things on this show, well, they just never change. Shit still won't stream, no matter the plea. And Pilates out sick again mysteriously, yeah. offside picks. They know talent when they see it. Daly's got the tricks. He ain't just a caller, he's a courtside star, climbing that ladder like a Nashville guitar. Now Ryan Roof's somewhere just licking his wounds, while Daly's the king of those Colorado dunes. He's the buzz of the bracket, the ace of the day, while Peter Bellotti ghosted again by the way. So raise up your rackets, raise up your glass to Daly the legend who played with some sass. 6'2", 6'3", man, he got the job done. Now he's wearing the crown, the new #1, but still no YouTube, no ship in sight. And Bellotti's alarm clock lost yet another fight. They say tennis is lonely, but Daly's got fans from WF.
2 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. .30 seconds remaining. .15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
The M&P 500 on the Infinity Sports Network.
Welcome back. Maggie Gray, Zach Gelb's in for Perloff today. We'll do a little stock up, stock down from the weekend. And Zach, I'll start off here. My first stock up's got to be Cam Little. Now, it doesn't count in the record books, but he did make history. The Jags kicker drilled a 70-yard field goal just before the half. 70 yards, the longest field goal in history. Again, it's not going to be official record because it happened in the preseason, but this has been the biggest change in football in my lifetime. Not just the kickers routinely hit from 50+. That was not how it was when I was a kid. 50 was always like a little dicey. Now you expect your kicker to make 50. 70-yard field goal right down the middle.
And it looked it had 6 or 7 more yards to it.
I thought about that. That's amazing.
My first stock up is going to be to Calvin Ridley. I look at him, 3 receptions, 51 yards on the Cam Ward drive. I believe he is going to have a mega season this year as Cam Ward and Calvin Ridley start to try to restore the Tennessee Titans.
That would be a good one. I mean, man, the guy got suspended for a whole year, right? For a 5-game parlay.
Oh, yeah.
Jeez.
I forgot about that.
That was not good. Okay, stocks goes up. Stocks gotta go down. Hate to do it, but gotta call out Graham Mertz. Nightmare debut for the 6th-round pick out of Florida. Completed only half of his passes and tossed 3 straight interceptions on 3 consecutive drives. And that's not awesome. So Houston Texans, they took a flyer on Graham Mertz, 3 straight picks. Now, one of them got tipped at the line of scrimmage, but the other 2 were definitely his fault. So stock down on Graham Mertz.
Let me go to the audio here. Here is Paul Feinbaum, Netflix Sports Club. He says he'll leave the country if another Big Ten school wins the title.
It is. And by the way, if it's not, I'm leaving the country because I am so sick and tired of being harassed by Big Ten fans on our show. The Big Ten has literally done nothing. They won 2 national championships. Michigan won 1 2 years ago. They've won 1.5 national championships, I think, and before that in 70 years, and they act like they invented football.
Well, the birthplace of college football is Rutgers, number 1. Also, Paul,
That's like a trivia question.
We have heard your SEC propaganda for 20 years, 30 years now. So God forbid the Big Ten wins 2 national championships and you're annoyed with the Big Ten fans. This is fun for the sport. This is good for the sport. Paul Feinbaum always has a Paul Feinbaum moment, and this was the one this summer where it was just marinated in jackassery. So give him a stock down.
All right.
I can't wait for Oregon to win the national championship, and then Paul will have to leave the country. That'll be fun.
Where do you think he'll go?
Banff. You go there. It's beautiful.
I don't know. Does Canada want any of us right now? Okay. Stock back up. How about Michael Jordan? Did you know, Zach, Michael Jordan is a, fisherman?
Yeah.
Apparently, he's got a boat where it's like prize fishermen.
Mm-hmm.
And on his boat, his guy caught a 71-pound marlin.
Ooh.
It was good enough for second place.
Oh.
So Jordan's got to be chapped about that, and everyone's probably running laps. But second place still was $400,000. Now, first place was $4.27 million. That's a really big difference between first place and second place, and that guy caught a 72-pound marlin.
Do you remember that video last summer of Kylie Kelsey and Jason Kelsey getting confronted by a fan that they wouldn't take a photo with, and this lady was freaking out?
I do remember that.
It was at this restaurant called Stephen Cookies down at the shore in Margate.
Okay.
Michael Jordan was on a fishing trip and wanted to eat, and he just called at the restaurant. He goes, someone called up for him and goes, "Oh, we're going to the restaurant." So that's how I knew he was a fisherman, because he goes to Stephen Cookies down at the shore.
Okay.
Tremendous lobster mac and cheese and a seafood pan roast there. And the lamb chop's pretty good there, or veal chop.
So Michael Jordan has his boat is called Catch 23, and when his angler Trey Cricket McMillan reeled in the 71-pound white marlin on the 6th day, they were all celebrating, which I'm surprised that Jordan would celebrate anything second place. But when they were pulling back into the harbor, they were playing serious. The shorthand, the Chicago Bulls intro music.
Oh, gotcha.
And now.
I was like, he was listening to Channel 375 to the Infinity Sports Network.
No, but that'd be wise for anybody. So stock up Michael Jordan, big fisherman.
I will give a stock up to Travion Henderson. Mm-hmm. First play, preseason, 100-yard kickoff return, and is actually getting me excited about the Patriots this year. So I will give him a stock up.
Last stock down for me. Actually, I got a couple more. Although Drake May doesn't have you excited about the season?
He does, but yeah. I knew what we had in Drake. I like Travion Henderson. Need some talent.
Can I go a stock down here on something that I'm surprised we haven't had any innovation on over the last, feels like maybe 30, 40 years? I went to a car wash the other day.
Ooh.
Man, that is just an inefficient...
Antiquated?
Just, you're in there. I haven't been in a long time. The equipment is massive. What is it doing? I mean, it's all these brushes and stuff all over the place. I went to a classic one.
Did you bring your son?
I didn't. He was at camp.
Oh.
But I had to go because a bird took such a gigantic dump on my car that I had to go to a car wash. This was not a bucket and a sponge type of situation. This bird unloaded on my car. Like crap, no pun intended. I got to go to the car wash. It's all this really big equipment. It's not cheap. You know, with the tip, I paid like $20. And when I got home, I looked at the front and there's still some of the bird crap on it. So what exactly did I pay for? It's all like a big show.
Yeah.
And I think we need to disrupt this industry. Like there's got to be a better way to do this.
Quickly, I'll give a stock down here.
Yeah.
Flying back from Banff, I had a carry-on bag. They go, "Oh, sir, it's too large. You got to check it." There's no more overhead bin space.
Sure.
Sit down. Flight's about to take off. There is an entire bin above me. Whenever they tell you there's not enough overhead bin space, there's always an ample amount of it. Airlines, get your damn act together.
There you go. That's a little of our stock up, stock down for the weekend. Obviously, Shedeur Sanders, the biggest stock up of the weekend.
100%.
Fantastic debut. Was it perfect? No, but who's expecting it to be perfect? But he was very good. You can see the breadcrumbs here. You can see why people thought he was going to be late first round, second round pick. He fell to the 5th round. NFL looks pretty silly.
Here we go, Brownies. Here we go.
We'll get more into Shedeur's big Friday night in just a moment. It is the Maggie and Perloff Show. Zach Gelb's in for Perloff today and tomorrow.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. 1 minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
Shedeur under pressure. Shedeur gunning. End zone. Sliding. Catch. That's a touchdown. Put him up. It's another one for Caden Davis. And the Browns take the lead. Shedeur Sanders has his second touchdown throw of the first half.
Browns Radio Network, and it was pretty. The 2 touchdown passes that Shedeur Sanders threw Friday night, the preseason game, it was good. It made you, I guess, confirm, what we saw at Colorado was real. He's an accurate passer, and he's a good quarterback that certainly has a future in the NFL. Welcome to the show, Maggie Gray, Zach Gelb, in for Andrew Perloff today and tomorrow. And Gelb, I think the NFL probably feels a little silly right now. It's only one preseason game, but Shedeur, if you had told me he was a late first-round pick, second-round pick, with how he played against the Carolina Panthers starters on defense, it was not all bad. There were some really high moments. Yeah, it was a little running around, a little going backwards at times, but nothing that or any big red flags. In fact, he appointed himself very well.
Yeah, no one's going to sit here and say now Shedeur should start reserving a bust in Canton, Ohio off one preseason performance. It's still a long journey and a long road to go. But I left that game saying, I want to see more.
Yep.
And it confirmed my belief that Shedeur got screwed over in the draft process, even though he didn't help himself. You want to tell me he falls out of the first round? Fine. But after that, second round, third round, fourth round, it was an absolute joke when you look at some of the quarterbacks that were selected in front of him. He should have been the second quarterback taken in the draft. At worst case, all right, maybe I'm one off. He should have been the third quarterback selected. But the fact that he fell to the fifth round for having bad interviews, I don't care how conceited you were. I don't care how cocky you were. The NFL has dealt with a lot bigger alphas than Shedeur Sanders, that the talent is there where he should have bare minimum been a late first-round pick. And I looked at what I saw this past weekend, and I'm like, okay, he should be starting games at some point this season for the Cleveland Browns.
And to be honest, we'll get into the Cleveland side of it in just a moment. All three, there were a couple guys who are just straight rookies who we saw play in the preseason, and I thought a couple of them, this was supposed to be such a terrible quarterback class. Cam Ward looked pretty good in his 2 series. Jaxson Dart looked pretty good with his outing for the New York Giants, did not embarrass himself by any stretch. And then you had Shedeur, who looked pretty good as well. I think that when we talked about how barren this quarterback class was, you could end up with 3. We'll see how Tyler Shuck does now on the road, or Cam Miller, or one of these guys. Maybe there's a chance that this class was not as bad as we made it out to be.
Yeah, I just also think when you look at the year prior, and you saw, even though Caleb Williams wasn't great, for Chicago standards, he had a solid season. Jaden Daniels was maybe the best rookie season we've ever seen. Drake May at times looked like he could be a franchise quarterback. Bo Nix took what I thought was a bottom 5 roster last year to the playoffs. And then Michael Penix Jr. and J.J. McCarthy were basically on the bench. It was, all right, there was so much positivity, and you factor in C.J. Stroud the year prior to that and the year that he had as a rookie. This class was hyped up a year ago to be, it's a loaded quarterback class. And the season played out, and it was like, all right, Carson Beck kind of took himself out of the conversation. And there wasn't the depth to the class that we thought it was going to be. But through the first preseason, I don't think you look at the main rookie quarterbacks.
Yeah, the big ones.
And I'll throw McCarthy in there too because he's basically a rookie. I don't think you walk away and you're nervous after one game.
So Shedeur Sanders, he's the headliner because of, what he was able to do in the game. Now, it was not a promotion that he was starting the preseason. It was because Joe Flacco was 40 and because the other 2 quarterbacks got hurt. So to me, the Browns were never signaling, hey, this is a real quarterback competition. I don't think they ever, and I said the other day, it felt like loaded dice against Shedeur for some reason that I couldn't understand. Now we're really going to know what the Browns have in store because they're back in Cleveland today for a practice, then fly to Philadelphia for joint practices with the Eagles. If after what Shedeur did on Friday, if he doesn't now get more reps, just because also Pickett and Dylan Gabriel are still dealing with hamstring injuries, then I think you really understand that the Browns do not want this to be a true quarterback competition because you can't come into the season, Zach, and say it's an open competition and then load it up so much for someone that it makes us wonder if that's even true.
This was always 2 quarterback competitions. It was Joe Flacco and Kenny Pickett competing to start week 1. And then whoever loses out is probably going to get traded, cut, maybe with the Pickett injury. I know he's going to fight through it and play through it. Maybe that they find a way to put him on an IR designation so they could keep him on the roster in some capacity, and then they could bring him back if they need him. But this was basically Joe Flacco, Kenny Pickett. One of you are going to make the team. One of you aren't. Whoever makes the team is going to start. And then Shedeur and Dylan Gabriel, you're fighting for 2 and 3. At this point, I don't understand if the Browns are in what's in the best interest of the team, at bare minimum, if they don't put Shedeur Sanders as the second-string quarterback. Like, I've seen enough of Dylan Gabriel. He had a very good college career, obviously. People were shocked that he went in the 3rd round. Dylan Gabriel is not a better quarterback than Shedeur Sanders. Kenny Pickett is not a better quarterback than Shedeur Sanders. So I think Joe should start. And then when the schedule, which is very tough out of the gate, when it eases up, maybe that Miami in week 7, that's when I think you see an opportunity for Shedeur to get on the field.
Okay, let's hear from Kevin Stefanski, the head coach of the Cleveland Browns, is not interested in updating the quarterback competition after that preseason game.
We're really just focused on developing our players. We're in evaluation mode. I'm pleased with where the guys are, but I'm not diving into a quarterback competition.
All right. Well, I mean, that is the biggest story out of camp. And I understand if you don't want to update it every single throw, but, at some point, we're not blind. You have 6 quarterbacks in this quarterback room if you count Deshaun Watson and Snoop Huntley. So clearly you are not set at the position. More from Stefanski says the start for Shedeur was great experience and he will get reps this week.
The situations were invaluable for Shedeur, for all of our offense. We got a 3rd and 1 where he had a quarterback sneak. I mean, there's just a lot of football, and that's by design with him getting a ton of reps in this game, and he'll get a ton of reps next week as well. That's all part of our development of our young players.
Okay, but all reps
it's part of their plan. Yeah, okay. Yeah,
but all reps are not created equal. And, it looks like Flacco, and I understand why Joe Flacco, clearly he should be winning this competition. The guy has more experience.
He should have been their starting quarterback last year.
Right. But see, and this is where it's interesting. We talk about whether or not the Browns will listen to the air quotes outside noise, right? Or whether anything else goes into these quarterback competitions except for how someone actually performs on the field. Because you're right. And the reason why Joe Flacco was not back with the Browns was why?
Deshaun Watson's feelings.
Exactly. Didn't want to be a threat to Watson because Flacco became such a fan favorite because he led the Browns to an unexpected playoff appearance. The Browns take more things into account than just football.
Mm-hmm.
They've shown it. So why wouldn't people think that they're taking more into account than football with whether or not Shedeur is actually getting a fair shake? Because there was no other way to explain it, or there won't be now, after what we saw on Friday night, if he doesn't get at least some burn with the ones. I'm told, EJ, that Mary Kay Cabot is updating this quarterback situation. Of course, the longtime Cleveland Browns reporter.
Yeah, well, I guess Kevin Stefanski spoke to the reporter. So from Mary Kay Cabot's Twitter account, she says, Kevin Stefanski wasn't ready to say if Shedeur Sanders will start Saturday versus Eagles. Also won't share plans for QB reps in the joint practice. Kevin Stefanski said he's thinking about when to name his week 1 starter and will decide after this Philly trip when to announce it.
Well, sources tell me it's going to be Joe Flacco. Yeah. Sources is just my big fat gut, all right? I think the important part of that, in the wording that you just said, there's the joint practices and then there's the preseason games. I could see them starting Shedeur in the preseason game.
Yep.
And then people that don't really follow this stuff would be like, oh, that's a great sign. The reps in the joint practices are more important than who plays in the preseason game. That's the thing that I would monitor here.
And one quick thing on that point, too. Apparently, Stefanski also said that Dylan Gabriel will be back in 11 on 11s today. Kenny Pickett will not. He is progressing, but will be limited to just 7 on 7. So when it comes to those splits and those reps, Kenny Pickett won't get any 11-11 with these Eagles.
That means that his hamstring's not right. You know? I mean, you can go out there for a 7 on 7 when there's no pass rush, but the 11 on 11 is going to be much different.
Entertain me here real quickly.
Yeah.
Joe Flacco's going to start week 1, correct?
Yes.
Okay. How long does he keep the job? I'll give you the schedule here.
Yep.
They open up the season home against Cincinnati. Then they're at Baltimore. Then they're home against Green Bay. Then they're at Detroit. Then they're somewhere not in the U.S. up against the Vikings.
Can we find out where that game is?
I believe it is in London.
Is in London? Okay.
It is in London, which shouldn't have a Super Bowl. And then they're at Pittsburgh. Yeah. Those first 6 games of the season are difficult.
Yep.
How are the Browns going to emerge out of those 6 games with more than 2 wins? Like, if they get 2 wins, I think it's an accomplishment. And if you're sitting there, even if you do get 2 wins, it's not as if you're going anywhere. You're 2-4 at that point, so I guess you could still run Joe Flacco out there. They're probably going to be 1-5. Like, maybe I'll give him a win at best. How is Jimmy Haslam not saying to Andrew Barry and Kevin Stefanski after that dreadful start to the season, all right, the only thing that's going to bring buzz, the only thing that people are going to want to tune in and see us and make us a storyline is going to be Shedeur Sanders. I really think that Week 7 game up against the Dolphins, because then after that they play at the Pats, they have a bye week, then they're at the Jets. That's the soft landing spot for Shedeur Sanders to actually give him a chance.
Yeah, I mean, I'll probably just go with the obvious here. They probably make the switch in the bye week. You start on the road, which is always, I think, a kind thing to do for guys who are making this kind of switch. Go on the road, home. There's so much pressure. You go at the Jets. It's definitely a winnable place. I mean, the Jets are a better team than the Browns this year, but that's a potentially, I guess, a winnable game. I bet the spread's not going to be huge on that game. And then you're home Baltimore, which is not going to be a picnic, but then at the Raiders, like, you have a little bit of wiggle room and use the bye week for the extra week to prepare.
It's got to be one of those 3 games, Miami, New England, or the Jets. And then worst case scenario, if somehow the Browns are better than what we think, at the Raiders on November 23rd.
Now, we did ask a poll question today, does the NFL now look silly for letting Shedeur Sanders fall to the 5th round of the draft? And 73% of you are saying no. Now, I understand if you were just watching that preseason game, yeah, there were still things that need to get cleaned up. Shedeur goes backwards. We've seen that. Shedeur sometimes running around a little bit too much. No doubt about that. But we're talking about still making a projection here. And some of the throws that he made in that game, especially when you're still against, starters or back, like starter-ish on defense, those are really hard throws. They're in tight windows, and they were perfectly executed. That's the kind of stuff I want to see.
If I'm New Orleans, I'm sitting there today saying, we got Tyler Shuck when we could have had Shedeur Sanders. Even the Steelers, you brought in Rodgers, so you're good with the drama, and I don't think Shedeur even creates that much drama, if I'm being honest.
Yeah,
I'd rather have Shedeur Sanders over Will Howard, even though he's dealing with an injury. Like, those 2 teams, the Raiders even, all right, you have Geno Smith, fine. Your backup option, you wouldn't want Shedeur, especially with how close Tom Brady and Shedeur Sanders supposedly are. 3 teams right there that I'm sitting without even knowing what career Shedeur is going to have, and you need to just take him in the 2nd, the 3rd, or at worst case, the 4th.
Yeah.
And you elected to pass. It's a bad look. And we could talk about how Shedeur botched the pre-draft process, which I totally get. But there is no way I don't know what planet we live on where you could justify this kid being taken in the 5th round.
No, and I think there was this sort of, I've been calling it a boogeyman aspect to the Sanders family. Like, oh, if you draft Shedeur, well, in comes Dion, and now you got to look over your shoulder because he's going to want to coach his son, or he's going to, have a microphone in front of his face talking about Colorado and mention something about the NFL team, and now you got to deal with that, clean up on aisle 7 or what have you. I don't think that Sanders, he hasn't acted like that. He told his dad to stay away. Dion was dealing with some major health issues, the bladder cancer that he told us about, that now is thankfully in remission. It's gone. And, I just think there was like this idea that they're going to come in and take over your franchise, and that's just not how it's played out.
But if that's the case, then that's why you're a losing organization. If that was your fear.
Right.
Like, look at the Atlanta Falcons. Why didn't they hire Bill Belichick? Because everyone close to Arthur Blank thought they would lose their job once Belichick came in and did things his way. So they persuaded Blank not to hire him.
Yeah.
Is anyone sitting there saying, "Oh, I can't wait to see another season of Raheem Morris after 1 year in Atlanta, where they've just kind of been what they've been"? If you're the coach or the GM and you go, "If we take Shedeur, there's going to be a reporter in Cleveland, Darryl Ryder, who's going to be asking me if we don't do well this year. Oh, are you afraid of Dion coming on in?" Then I don't want you as my head coach or the GM if you're afraid of that stuff.
Yeah, it shows that you really don't feel like you're sitting on strong ground, and that is all comes from ownership. 888-710-4ISN, 888-710-4476. And I think the irony here is that ownership is going to get involved. I agree with you that they did have something. Jimmy Haslam did have something to say about Shedeur getting drafted to begin with, because we know it, guys. We already know, and they've admitted that Jimmy Haslam's in on the process, air quotes, of how they draft guys. So if you're the owner, you can always say, I do not want you to draft this guy. There's no general manager in the right mind if the owner says, do not draft this person, that they're going to go ahead and do it because you just wrote your own pink slip. You don't do a you-know-what measuring contest in that moment with an owner. So what does that lead you to believe? If the owner does not say, don't draft this guy, why couldn't he go the other way and say, I do want you to draft this guy? Because nothing about this quarterback situation made sense from the moment it happened.
And all you need to know is in the denial by Jimmy Haslam when he spoke to reporters a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, he goes, it's ultimately Andrew's decision, but we had conversations.
Right.
Yeah, that's like if you're talking to your son and you're saying, hey, I want you to eat healthier. And then all of a sudden, your son has apples in his bag to go to school every day. Well, who put the apples in the bag? It's mom. It's not Lucas's decision to eat the apples. He wants the Dunkaroos, for crying out loud. That's what happened here. Jimmy Haslam said, here are the apples. Andrew Berry, you carry the apples. I don't want to see the Dunkaroos.
888-710-4ISN. I've been gatekeeping the Dunkaroos.
Dunkaroos are good,
snack.
Especially when Maggie has all those shower beers. She needs to eat something afterwards. She's just eating those, inhaling those Dunkaroos.
I love it. All those shower beers.
Yeah.
Drink one beer in the shower one time, and now I'm a serial shower beer drinker.
I'm just going off the information I heard.
Don't knock it till you try it, though. They're great.
When I was in college, when I was in a fraternity, a shower beer was great. I don't remember the last time I had a shower beer, though.
Bring it back. And now we shower very early in the morning here, so maybe not this week.
Let me tell you. My alarm went off today.
Yeah, it's okay.
4:15.
Don't do it.
And I went right into the shower, and I'm like, why did I say I wanted to fill in?
Why did you say
early.
yes? Yeah, well,
but it's nice.
That's
now
the
my
way
day's
we like
over
it.
at 10.
That's the way we like it around here. This is all the productive people. You guys know. We're all morning people.
It's also harder when you come from a trip. Because, even though I've been doing this for 2 years, and I came from Baltimore this weekend, and that wake up today was rough.
But I had a very relaxing trip. This is the first vacation I've come back from where I didn't feel as if I had to take another vacation.
Oh, okay.
There's a lot of vacations. I'm also in that bachelor party kind of lifestyle now.
Yeah.
Where you come back, and I came back from Vegas. I was dead for a week and a half.
I was like, I'm cooked. Go see Backstreet Boys?
We did go to the Sphere, and then we went to a lot of nightclubs, and there was a lot of drinks that were consumed.
Sure.
And I left Vegas feeling as if I needed a 2-week vacation where I just stayed at my house.
And you guys are young, man.
Yeah. I'm getting old now. I got gray hairs. I'm 31 now. And I'm getting old. I'm past my prime. I'm washed
31.
up.
I know.
Washed up.
You guys are so young.
Yeah.
EJ, you said you had a faux pas on an Uber.
Oh, my gosh. I got to ask you guys a important question. So, yes, I'm in Baltimore, and having lived in other places outside of New York, I know Uber situation could be very different. But I've never had this happen before. You get in an Uber. Is it a faux pas for the Uber driver to start singing the music that's on the radio. Like Jelly Roll was on.
Tell him to shut up. I'll tell you that.
And the Uber driver, she was singing as if she was it was karaoke night.
Yeah.
And this is midnight, by the way. I'm going to the Baltimore Odyssey station to get ready to do a show.
Yeah.
And, I don't know if I know my headphones were on my head, but they weren't on. I don't know if she thought maybe that was why she could get away with it, but she just started belting Jelly Roll. And I'm like.
Was she any good or?
She was just like an average person.
Okay.
Like, not like, didn't sound as bad as me singing, but not good, right?
That's a good self-scout right
there. But just like any person that tried to go up there and do Jelly Roll is not going to sound like Jelly Roll, right? And I'm like, I thought I've seen everything. I've been in a pickup truck Uber. I've seen all things in Ubers.
I love
never
a pickup
seen
truck
this.
Uber, by the way. I got one of those in Houston one time. It was great. Very comfortable.
You can't sing in the Uber.
But it's midnight. I don't
That's
know.
worse to me. What if I'm coming from a long day? Like, I could have been coming from a long day where I was out all day, or maybe I was at a gathering and now I'm just trying to get back home. She doesn't know where I'm going.
How chatty was she?
She wasn't chatty at all. In
So
fact,
she was just singing?
She got picked. The only reason why she stopped was because she kept taking phone calls.
You know what?
That's
she's taking phone calls and she's singing Jelly Roll.
I could actually live with that because in Uber experiences, it could get very horrifying, especially when the car smells too. There's nothing worse when you get an Uber and it just stinks.
Yeah, the air freshener, you mean?
No, I mean like the person just stinks.
I haven't had that. The very strong air freshener I don't love, but I can understand you have all these people coming in and out of your car. You probably feel like you need the air freshener.
Yeah, I went to Oshaval in the city and I was getting an Uber and I almost had to get out of the Uber. It stunk that.
It was BO?
Ugh.
Well,
big,
okay.
thick, sweaty guy.
And sometimes
in the middle of the summer. Ugh.
Sometimes when I get an Uber, I assume that it's not even the person. I assume it was some people who were in there already. I don't even go to the driver. It's interesting that you go straight to the driver.
Well, this driver stunk.
Okay.
He was a smelly guy.
I mean, let's not.
Like, he had the sweat towel over his shoulder. Like, stereotypical big fat guy. I've been there. But, terrible.
I've not had that. But let's see. Is it a faux pas to sing?
We're burying the lead, though.
Probably.
We're burying. EJ's in Baltimore.
Yeah.
And you were doing a fill-in shift on the fan?
Oh, yeah.
And in the middle of the night?
Yeah.
Look at the dedication here. He goes to Baltimore?
Yeah.
To do the show?
I've done shows from Baltimore.
Yeah, station's nice down there.
It's been really nice.
Yeah, station's nice down there. But yeah, it was fill-in shift and
I would tell Mayor Nick and Hurley, hey, I'm off for the weekend. I ain't going and doing a show on vacation.
And we're not all just hanging out in Banff, Zach.
Yeah, that's true. I would have done a remote in Banff. We could have gone. I would have extended my trip. You could have joined us, so with EJ.
What's the time zone there?
2 hours behind.
I love mountain. Love mountain time. It's so great. It's so perfect.
Your day would end at 8 a.m. You could see right as the sun comes up.
Mountain time is definitely the best time.
100%.
I just realized
agree.
that. I didn't even think about it. I've actually never been in mountain time before.
It's a delight because, you're 2 hours behind the East Coast. So you're like, it's a perfect amount of like answering emails if you need to and all that stuff. But you still have plenty of the day to yourself. But you're not all the way West Coast where sometimes that can feel very disconnected from the East Coast if you need that kind of thing.
And then also, let's say Monday Night Football ends around 11 p.m.
Chef's kiss.
Yeah, like, so if people say, you want to be Central Time, 10 to 11 is not a big deal. You get me football ending at 9.
Oh, wouldn't that be awesome?
That's pretty damn good. Or even starting, it'd be 11 a.m. Like, I'm good with football starting at 11.
That's not too bad.
Now, you give me a London game, that could be a little difficult.
It's the biggest thing that East Coasters are jealous about, sports fans of the West Coast and the Mountain Time, is your sports schedule and your clock is just so much better than ours. It's just, you can't even, it's not even a competition.
I was with Sully for the NBA playoffs and the Stanley Cup playoffs.
Yeah, friend of the show.
In Vegas, and watching the games in the middle of the day and then having a whole night ahead of myself, it was wonderful.
I know. If we ever sign million-year contracts, we'll all pick up the show.
Oh, you haven't signed yours yet?
They handed them out.
Oh, you weren't on
10-year
that meeting?
contracts?
Oh,
888-710-4ISN, 888-710-4476. All right, let's take a quick break. Coming up, Shedeur Sanders, you can weigh in. Does the NFL look silly? Because Shedeur did have a very good preseason debut. You can see the talent there. It wasn't all perfect, but you can see the talent. Coming up, Travis Hunter. We got the details for you. What he looked like on offense and defense. It's coming your way next. M&P.
You're in a 5-minute break.
Those West Coast Super Bowls.
Oh, especially when.
Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. .30 seconds remaining.
Don't you think you're falling? If everybody wants you, why isn't anybody calling? You don't have to answer. Leave
15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Gloria, Gloria. I think they got your number.
Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff, usually here, but on vacation. Much deserved. So Zach Gelb sliding over from the Zach Gelb Show, which you hear on many of these Infinity Sports Network stations. We'll get to Travis Hunter pulling double duty in his Jags preseason debut in just a moment. But first, Andrew Bogusch has headlines for us on a very busy Monday. What's up?
And guys, if you do a Twitter search for Dolphins head coach Mike McDaniel, one of the top results is a clip of our Margaret saying that McDaniel is not head coach material.
No way.
Yeah. Bears head coach Ben Johnson might disagree.
He is a little bit of that mad scientist, and so there's a lot of respect there just from a schematic standpoint. And I know they've got a good one there. Shoot, when Tua's been healthy, they've been rolling, and they've been a playoff team really for all 3 years.
So not a direct reprimand of you, but
So just let the record show. I said I thought he will have a more successful future as an offensive coordinator for many, many years in the league. I don't know if he's
not a head coach.
He's like a backup singer as opposed to the star. Perloff was the one who said it's because he's so small. I did not say that. I didn't say that. That wasn't me. I
Little fella, little guy.
I didn't do the too short. I didn't dunk on him like that. No. That was a Perloff. Perloff is 6'4". He can say stuff like that. I can't say stuff.
Maggie's like, I got bigger feet than the coach of the Dolphins.
I might.
To be fair, he did say he was odd.
Well, spot the lie. I have a lot of material for that.
Well, not only that, I've always felt like I was on the outside of the inside joke with Mike McDaniel. I've never thought he was funny. His press conferences creep me out. He doesn't seem like head coach material. I agree with that. I know he's done good. He's been fine in Miami. But this act is going to get old real quick when they're losing games this year. And he's sitting up there and he's like, oh, we're a day closer to death. Yeah. And Ben Johnson, too. We didn't know much about Ben Johnson. Like, we know who he was, right? We know how much he was praised for the job that he did in Detroit, but how he was so selective and he wouldn't go to the Commanders last year. Now that looks like a mistake. And then he's taking shots at Matt LaFleur once he gets the job in Chicago. I know that's the Packers-Bears stuff. That guy's arrogance, I have no real reason to root against the Bears. Like, I want to see them do well. That fan base deserves it. But Ben Johnson gives you a little bit of a reason to kind of hate watch the Bears this year.
You and I in lockstep here. Perloff already wants to fit Ben Johnson for the gold jacket. And
he sucks up to the nerds, Perloff.
But I don't see it. I'm like, we haven't seen this guy call a coin flip yet. We have no idea. And by all accounts, like, it's not going that great right now with Caleb Williams. Now, we have a long way to go, and Caleb's a super talented guy, and the team should be fine. But, no, Ben Johnson, Mike McDaniel is a different caliber.
You know who he gives me vibes of, Ben Johnson?
Who's that?
A more well-put-together, well-dressed Matt Patricia.
Well, Patricia's the defensive side, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
In an offensive body and a guy that just is more well-put-together and doesn't look like a slob.
I don't know if it's because he looks like this guy, but he kind of reminds me of Adam Gase.
I was going to say Gase. That's where I thought you were going with. The guy who's like the offensive genius, air quotes, and he's going to come in and change things. And like
his eyes don't wander enough, though.
Yeah, Gase was a little creepy. I don't think Ben Johnson's creepy yet.
I always hated doing that because, like, obviously the guy's not doing that on purpose.
Mm-hmm.
I think
we could eye shame him. It's fine.
I'm not eye shaming him.
This way. Sirianni was a disaster at the podium early on, and the guy ended up winning a Super Bowl and going to 2.
But very different type of disaster at the podium. Sirianni started talking so fast, he lost his train of thought, and it just sounded kind of dumb. He's talking about fertilization, like fertilizer.
The flowers in Philly.
He just lost.
Seth Joyner joined me on the air. He almost had a stroke when he heard that.
It
was crazy.
He just sort of lost his way. Like Mike McDaniel, Ben Johnson, I thought came in and was doing I love beating Matt LaFleur. We're like, oh, these guys must be best friends behind the scenes. And he's like, I've never met this guy before in my life. It was so weird. And then for McDaniel, it's just like he's telling the jokes. And it's like hold for applause. And it's just that applause is not coming. I don't.
That's going to be a disaster this year in Miami. Oh, Tyreek Hill, Mike McDaniel. Tua's already kind of going back and forth with Tyreek. That's a good reality TV show. They should be on Hard Knocks this year. I would enjoy watching that.
Yeah, we're not getting much with the Bills.
Johnson went to bat for McDaniel after the Bears and Dolphins played to a 24-24 tie yesterday afternoon. McDaniel had Tua on the field for a drive. He went 5 for 6, 27 yards, wasn't touched, but they didn't score any points. The victims of a goal line stand from the Chicago D. Meanwhile, the QB that was better than Arch Manning at Texas last season, Quinn Ewers, 5 for 18 from Miami. He was sacked twice. Saint quarterbacks had 3 giveaways, were sacked 5 times in a 27-13 loss at the Chargers. Trey Lance, though, his second promising outing this summer, 55 passing yards, 48, and a TD on the ground. Nothing new yet this morning on Eagles Pro Bowl guard Landon Dickerson, who suffered a possibly significant right leg injury near the end of last night's open practice at the Link. You guys have already touched on some of this. Browns head coach Kevin Stefanski not yet unveiling his QB plans for joint practices this week with those Eagles or their preseason game, or when he'll name the starting QB for Week 1. Dylan Gabriel returns to full practice today after dealing with that hamstring issue. Kenny Pickett and his hamstring remain in 7-on-7 drills only. Rams QB Matthew Stafford expected to return from his back troubles today, doing just individual work for now. And a new week in Cincinnati begins with Trey Hendrickson still hanging out of practice, still waiting on an extension. The Bengals' former D coordinator, Lou Anarumo, is now on staff in Indy and said yesterday there's no reason for the Bengals not to keep Hendrickson.
He's a young 30. He is a workout freak. He's always in the weight room. He's constantly training. So he's got a bunch of years left in him for sure. He's a freak athlete. And his numbers speak for itself. I think any team would say, 17.5 sack guy, we'll take him.
Anarumo saying all of that on Up and Adams on FanDuel TV. Maggie, we discussed this briefly on Friday. The Bengals' defense did not look good in their preseason openers, so that
Shocker.
can only help Hendrickson, you'd think.
Doesn't look good in the regular season either, probably.
No, I know.
Well, and the other part, too, was the idea that these slow starts were somehow Joe Burrow. That he was the problem. I mean, I think we all realize, and we knew this before they played that game, it's not Burrow that's the problem there. So.
UFC is reportedly selling its media rights to Paramount Plus for $7.7 billion over 7 years, starting next year. No more pay-per-view. Every fight will be available through your monthly subscription.
Wait, I'm sorry. I have one more question about this.
I'll do my best.
Okay.
Not as Dana White.
So that's fine. So CBS now and UFC creating a partnership. So that means it's over with ESPN and UFC?
After this year, yes.
Yes.
Okay, so basically, does it look like ESPN swapped out WWE for UFC?
That's what it looks like to me.
Because are they both part of the same company now, right?
Correct.
Isn't it TKO is with WWE and UFC together?
Correct. Yeah,
Games of stuff now in boxing, too.
Right.
Yeah, and they're getting a little bit of boxing with the big fight coming up between Terrence Crawford and Canelo Alvarez.
I'm kind of curious then. So if this, UFC, boxing, WWE conglomerate, why did they think CBS was the good spot? Maybe because $7 billion.
I don't think the UFC fans love the ESPN thing.
Okay.
I think the way it was covered, and I think, some of this pay-per-view stuff maybe wasn't all ESPN's fault. That could have been a UFC thing that they wanted. It just, my brothers are big UFC fans. I know they
it was
felt
never
like
a good partnership.
that this thing that looked good on paper wasn't really being executed the way they wanted. And I think Dana White even complained a little bit about
I've never had a problem with
ESPN.
it. Like I wouldn't say
You're a big UFC fan.
But I like the UFC. I'm not going to sit here and tell you I could tell you everything. I've never had an issue consuming the fights that way, but I also have a service that gets me all the fights for
Well, right.
free,
I think that's the problem. People are paying $80 a pop
It's crazy.
for every pay-per-view.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought you meant by the production, the presentation. I'm like, it looked normal to me.
That's the number one thing. I think there's been some stuff with the production stuff, but more so it's like
The cost.
you're buying ESPN Plus, and it's not buying you anything. It's buying you access to then pay another $80 for a fight.
Oh, because then you have to...
You have to pay on top of
Gotcha.
it. Right, because we all have ESPN Plus, and then you can have it always pops up. Do you want to buy this fight? And I generally say no, but but you're still gonna end up paying because the monthly subscription. It's not like it's nothing.
Yeah, but then there also was some technical issues too. Like there were fights where you would, and I've dealt with this in boxing and UFC, where you would pay for the fight, but then it wasn't showing up on certain apps. Like ESPN had some issues. They've had some issues with the combat stuff, and I'm hoping that doesn't happen with WWE. But to the earlier question, it is odd that you see ESPN. It does feel like they kind of chose WWE over UFC.
It's the same company, so they're all making out. Well, I guess CBS had Bellator for a long time, Bellator MMA, but I'm actually kind of surprised that these are the bedfellows.
I would also assume, and maybe I'm talking out of my what here, the WWE niche audience is stronger than the UFC audience.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think the UFC is kind of cold right now. I think
They need a star. They need another star.
That's been the industry talk. I think WWE's hot. And it's kind of with that comes various different issues, right? Ticket prices are higher, other things that you don't want as a fan. but they are selling out shows. The viewership is really high, and for UFC, they're lacking stars. They've had the technical issues that I talked about earlier. I think it's a little bit of a colder brand right now, and it's crazy because, again, I feel like 6-7 years ago, UFC was as hot as anything. You could argue it was the fourth biggest sport.
Oh, with Conor and Ronda.
Yeah, it was the fourth biggest sport we had in America.
I also don't know, did ESPN buy into any of the archive WWE stuff, which would be more valuable than anything UFC has in its
That's going to be a huge,
its cloud
that's
storage.
Gonna be a huge question. I don't think that the rollout has not been good with that ESPN thing, because that's been a question I've been waiting for someone to answer or explain or at least post. And I haven't seen that yet, because Peacock does have that library.
And what's the show that they do now where it's like all the behind the scenes?
Unreal.
Yeah.
On Netflix.
That's on Netflix.
That has popped into my algorithm.
Yeah.
And you see Triple H explain all this stuff. I'm not even a wrestling fan. And
I've been
I think
watching
it's
it.
interesting.
I've been watching it.
And that's being done, by the way, by the Hard Knocks crew.
Oh.
No, I thought Omaha.
Oh, Omaha. I'm sorry.
Yeah, Peyton
Omaha.
Manning.
Yeah, yes, Omaha.
Peyton Manning's Omaha Productions are producing it. It's real. Listen, it's manicured still because they're not giving you all the behind the scenes, but it's pretty good.
Are you saying wrestling's fake?
They'll tell you.
Scripted.
Oh.
Yeah, not fake.
Don't use F word. Scripted.
There's
predetermined.
Actually,
that too.
You see more of.
I make cookies for Santa Claus, by the way.
You see
I got a
more
story
of
about
the injury stuff. Is more, you get more access to that.
Who
Seth Rollins.
Seth
Our
Rollins.
friend Seth Rollins.
He was on, right before my show, he was filling in for Rich Eisen, and he scripted the whole injury on the air, and then I saw his daughter went to school and told the pre-K teacher, and he had to talk to the pre-K teacher to let her in on the bit. Wild. What a commitment.
I was at SummerSlam last week, and the funniest thing that I've ever seen at a wrestling show was leaving the stadium. I'm on the train, and a mother and her son, who must have been 7 or 8 years old, gets on, and she's like, "Oh, did you enjoy your time here?" He was like, "Yeah, I mean, it was great until Seth cashed in." He was like, "This is the worst day I've had since I learned that wrestling was scripted." The worst day of his life, and since he learned that wrestling was scripted, he just went to a show that his mom probably paid $400 for.
So when I was a kid, I knew that wrestling was scripted real quickly. Remember when Eddie Guerrero unfortunately passed away?
Yeah.
I thought that they were doing a bit on the show when they opened it up and everyone was crying. And the whole show, I was waiting for him to come on out. And that's when I realized that Eddie Guerrero was actually dead when he didn't come on out that night. That's what I thought as a kid. I mean, it was 2005. I was a youngster,
Let's all
Bogusch
go,
doesn't even know how to respond to
let's
that
all
one.
go around the room and say the saddest moments from your childhood.
Well, I'm currently saying that you were a baby in 2005.
Yeah, I graduated college that year.
There's that.
I was in a elementary school.
Yeah, I was in high school.
I think it was in 4th grade. Yeah, 4th grade.
Oh,
I miss Manny.
wow. Well, Manny might
He's younger than me.
diapers.
Yeah, but it's less offensive.
Oh, okay. Throw more in your face is what you're saying? Don't worry. I'll go after Manny tomorrow.
Okay, coming up.
Life advice with Zach Gelb tomorrow with Manny Rodriguez at 8 a.m.
I don't know. Is this covered wagon going to make it back from Buffalo?
He should call out sick.
Okay, coming up. We mentioned it before, not really huge fans of Mike McDaniel, some of us, but is it possible that one of his biggest playmakers could be on the move? Now that's got our attention. It's the Maggie and Perloff show. Zach Gelb's in for Pearl.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. 3 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
You think Travis Hunter was listening to this before he suited up for the Jags' first preseason game? It's a little cliche, but he did play a lot. 92% of the snaps on offense. He went 2 for 2, Zach. He did have a third catch that was negated by a flag on the did not play with the second team. Excuse me. Okay, 92% of the snaps on the first team offense. I want to make sure I get this right for Travis Hunter. Did not play with the second team offense. As for defense, did not play with the first team defense. Did play 100% of the snaps on the second team defense on the second and third drives on defense. So there'll be a test on this later. But all you need to know is besides one kind of stiff arm on defense where he got a little bit, he did look pretty good. And he looks a little small out there, but he, on offense, clearly is the guy. They went to Brian Thomas first and then was going to Travis Hunter second, Trevor Lawrence that was, on offense. But on defense, like, I think maybe a little bit more of an adjustment is what I saw.
So I once at the Heisman when I cover it,
Yeah.
I saw him in person, and I did look at him like, wow, he's so skinny. And
Was he
he
skinny?
doesn't look skinny on the field.
Just the
when
narrow
he was at
hips,
Colorado.
Yeah. But
so here's
it's
my
fine.
thing,
He'll
though.
be fine. Yeah.
I am all in on Travis Hunter and doing this experiment to the fullest. This guy, all he has done, people say, well, you can't do this, you can't do this. All right, you do it in college at an elite level. You win the Heisman Trophy. And now everyone in the NFL is saying, oh, you can't play both ways. Why not?
Yeah.
This guy is one of one. And I would run this experiment into the ground, even if it requires that, to see what you could do. Kind of like Ohtani.
Yeah.
Eventually, they're going to have to tell him, stop pitching, or maybe you go as a reliever if another injury, pops up again. But I would just try to go as far as you can with this because it's so special. It's so unique. In a place like Jacksonville, where they really don't have a face of the franchise, they thought it was going to be Trevor Lawrence. I really hope he exceeds in Duval.
This was a question we had last week, which would you rather kind of have your career burn bright but be shorter, or would you rather have a nice, long NFL career? And it was off of Devontae Adams, who was talking on the Pivot podcast about how Travis Hunter can do this and how he's rooting for him, but he will certainly shorten his career because the injury rate in the NFL is 100%. At some point, you are going to get hurt, so you are just doubling your exposure to getting hurt. And at some point, you are going to have to make a tackle. At some point, you are going to be asked to be physical. It's not just tap dancing out there as a corner. And you're going to take hits as a wide receiver as well. Not as bad as like the 80s and 90s, but still, let's not pretend it's not physical out there.
Even if you're not on the field, you could take hits. Like CeeDee Lamb this weekend.
How about CeeDee Lamb?
Could you imagine if he got hurt and that's how, let's say he broke something and he was lost for the season.
Yeah.
I watched that video. I go, this can't be real. I go, this got to be AI generated.
Yeah.
And no, it was real, and I guess it was not spectacular.
No, CeeDee Lamb is on the sideline. He's celebrating as one of his Cowboys teammates is making a big play. He was not in uniform for the first preseason game, so he's just in street clothes. And it's like one of those, like a prank film, like a prank, where he's got his back completely to a referee who's running full speed down the sideline, and the ref is keeping their eyes on the play, not seeing CeeDee Lamb, and just boom. We have the sound of it. This is what it sounded like.
This happened right in front of me. CeeDee Lamb was celebrating Jonathan Mingo getting behind his defender. He was so excited he jumped in front of an official, and the official ran over CeeDee Lamb. On the sideline, that's where the penalty comes in, and he was off the sideline. He was outside of the box, and so CeeDee's the one that's being penalized here for the Cowboys sideline infraction.
He's lucky he's not getting carted off the field. And that is thank you to CBS Dallas, who had the sound.
So you're talking about going to the car wash. You ever see, like, outside the car wash or just on the street, that big red thing that just, like, flails its arm?
Yeah, they're called wacky waving inflatable arm filling tube.
That's kind of what CeeDee Lamb looked like on the sideline when he got hit. I go, oh, it's that tube man that I see on the side of the road. That's all I could see.
It looked like his spine was suddenly made of jelly. Yeah, you're right. He's lucky he's not hurt.
I'm glad he wasn't hurt because now we can laugh at it.
Yeah.
It was freaking hysterical.
Honestly, he's got to be feeling that today because it was such a blindside. He stepped in front of the referee. It's just like it was a pure collision.
The Cowboys should sign this official. He brought the boom there. They could maybe use him on the defense or something like that.
Listen, they've had a lot of trouble stopping the run. So maybe they just needed this guy to suit up as a linebacker for that.
Put some shoulder pads on him. Let's see what he got. Let's do a little Oklahoma drill at Cowboys
Jerry's
practice.
had dumber ideas. That's for sure.
Jerry Jones has a dumb idea. That's a thing.
Impossible. Dominic is in San Francisco. Dom, got a couple seconds for you. How you doing?
Good. How are you? Thanks for taking my call. I was just wondering if anybody had an update for that cornerback for the Chargers that had a terrific game and sadly looks like he sustained a serious injury with like a minute left in the game. It's really sad, and I'd like to touch base on Sanders. He'll play as soon as Flacco gets hurt.
Yeah, well, I mean, but here's the thing, Dom. It's like Perloff and I, we discussed this a lot. Perloff's like, well, you can't predict an injury, obviously, but he's like, is Flacco going to get hurt? He doesn't run around. He knows how to protect himself. It is a good offensive line, very veteran offensive line. in Cleveland. Like, Flacco's going to be smart, Zach. He's not going to expose himself to any risk.
Yeah, like, could he get hurt? Sure. Am I sitting there and saying that's how Shedeur's going to see the field? Am I anticipating a Flacco injury? No. It's going to be this schedule's murderer's row the first 6 games of the season, and the Browns are going to be bad. And then that's going to open up a point where it's, okay, Flacco wasn't able to recreate that magic that they had 2 years ago. So that's when they'll say, let's go to Shedeur or Dylan Gabriel.
Now, I don't know about the Chargers corner who was hurt, but there was one.
Rashawn Slater.
Oh, he's their offensive lineman.
That's the one I knew.
Well, Rodgers, the cornerback, he had 2 picks in the Dallas Cowboys game. There's no word yet on what his injury is.
Okay, because we saw obviously the very scary moment with the Lions player who was left the field in an ambulance, and they actually just stopped the game. It was the Lions against the Atlanta Falcons, and supposedly he's all good. He was back in the facility over the weekend. So that avoided some disaster. Zach, thank you so much. We're going to do it again tomorrow.
Yep. Bright and early.
EJ Stewart, thank you so much. Thank you so much, too. Scarpacci, our man. Thank you, Andrew Bogusch, Andrew Kaplan. Guidos.
You're in a 5-minute break.